We open up with a scene of our MC, Lu Shang, getting woken up by his teacher. His teacher complains about him sleeping all day, and his classmates makes fun of him. He nags at Lu Shang for sleeping, when there is only 200 days left for the exam, and yet he is not putting in any effort. And if he were to continue like this, he won't even get a job as a worker, and as even that has a health standard of 0.8, which Lu Shang doesn't even come close to. His classmates mocks him for having 0.7 health score, saying that he cannot do anything but sleep with that score. His teacher sighs at him for not putting any effort and dismisses the class. Afterwards, we are introduced to his friend, Lu Qiming, who asks if he had a bad dream again, and Lu Shang nods. It was the same depressing and dilapidated field again, with nothing but monsters around. But he don't want to be reminded of it, as it takes mental toll on him, along with his health status also dropping by 0.02%. His friend also makes fun of him, that even his health status is better, and he looks like a Discord mod. But he at least invites him to play some games, which Lu Shang declines since he is not in the mood. His friends offers to cover the money, because Lu Shang seems to be acting unusual, but Lu Shang leaves citing that he needs to catch up his sleep at home. On the way home, we learn that he has been reincarnated into this world, but it's the same worries here about studies just like his old world. But while both of these worlds are similar, there is one key difference. Suddenly, a mommy dummy appears, pushing Lu Shang aside for blocking the road, while he admires her strength, wondering when he will be able to do that. And now at his home, we see his mom seemingly treating his dad's back. And when Lu Shang comes back, his dad and mom quickly gets up for dinner as well, and ask him to get ready too. And upon seeing his dad in this condition, Lu Shang gets worried, and suggests him to buy an elixir that he saw in news, which apparently his friend has as well. But his dad puts up a front, stating that it's just a slight problem due to old age, but he is still strong and these kind of injuries are nothing. He then also brings out a present for him, which seems to be some expensive tonics. It's a really expensive health recover powder, and his mom praises his dad for buying that for Lu Shang, and decides to celebrate with some food that she got from work. But Lu Shang seems to be incredibly frustrated due to their gesture. His parents again asks if his health status had a breakthrough to 0.85 yet, as his sister is apparently already on 0.9, and apparently, schools are also raising the cutoff by 0.01%. And Lu Shang leaves while worriedly replying that he knows already. Back in his room, he decides to start with his workout again. He starts practicing 14 sets of radio gymnastics. It's apparently recommended by World Martial Alliance. It used to for beginners specifically to strengthen their foundation. This world changed 300 years ago. Cracks appeared and from them, monsters started pouring out, rendering advanced human weapons useless against them. But in return, human genetics changed. Everyone's strength was raised exponentially. And so, humanity entered the era of martial arts prosperity. But despite that, humanity is still at a severe disadvantage against the monsters which are filled on the battlefield, and to this day, humanity is getting pushed back to defeat. A bit later, and Lu Shang has finally finished all 3 sets, yet none of his status has changed, while his sister's health status is already at 0.9, while he is stuck on a receding health status due to his nightmares. His parents spent a lot of money on him, and he was even given a second chance by reincarnating into the martial world, yet this is the result. But he doesn't give up, and decides to push himself to train even harder instead, but his vision gets blurry and he falls unconscious. And soon enough, he again finds himself in that battlefield from his nightmares. And as he is trying to wake himself up by pinching, he gets attacked by a zombie. Lu Shang is barely able to hold it off, as it falls on top of him. He apparently managed to save his ass from it a couple of times before, yet he was still captured like a baby. And as it tries to bite him, Lu Shang dodges. But soon enough, he gets fed up with this and attacks back, pushing the zombie away even despite being shit at combat, with his health status being 0.7. And he finally kicks him, getting some distance from the zombie. He then picks up a rock and goes on to play Smash Brothers on the zombie's face, hitting him until it dies, and he himself gets tired. And just as he is happy about his first skill, some kind of dark energy starts seeping into him. He starts screaming as it starts to engulf his whole body. He seems to be getting some visions suddenly, with a guy being on a beach and serving his duty in the army. And then the monsters attacked, which caused his death. And his dumbass finally realizes that it's the memory of the zombie that he just turned into a pulp. His body starts emitting some aura, as he is confused as to what happened. And suddenly, he gets attacked by another zombie. but this time he is able to react to it and dodge. And not only that, he is able to quickly pop off the zombie's head like a balloon this time. His shiny eyes turn back to normal as he gets back to his usual self. He is both surprised and confused about what happened, and when did he even become this strong? And once again the same thing happens, and strength starts to slowly enter his body. And with this, he realizes that killing the zombies not only gave him the memories of his past life, but also enabled him to obtain its strength. He is unable to believe what just happened. He is gaining lifetime of experience just like this, and calls it nature-defying. Though he sighs in disappointment since it's a dream, but everything feels too realistic to call it just a dream. Suddenly, he gets another memory, something about the base 1359, and he decides to find that place, thinking he might find the truth about this dream there. He doesn't find absorbing memories as unpleasant as first time, and decides to find more combat-type zombies to grow stronger. Suddenly, he looks up above, and the sky starts to act up. And he again falls down unconscious in his dreamland, and wakes back up in his room. He then gets a knock on his door, and we see someone shouting his name, telling him it's time to eat, and it's Chingha. And we are finally introduced to his sister, Lu Chingha, who mocks him for sleeping instead of exercising. But suddenly, we see his body went from 10-year-old to a Giga Chad. Chingha is surprised to see it as well, and quickly leaves while telling him to hurry up. She blushes on the way, thinking food is not the only thing to eat tonight, and that he must have a lot of effort into working out. She was apparently really clingy towards him when they were young, but changed when they started school and she got first place. And at this rate, she will end up getting an offer to a prestigious martial university, while he will sit his ass at home alone. Back in his room, when he pulls out his shirt, he notices his body as well, wondering, when did he got muscular? He also feels full of energy instead of sleepy. And he even remembers all the memories from the zombie and the combat techniques he got. He has finally gotten stronger and gets a thought that perhaps he can bring the strength from dreams back to reality. He quickly goes to have dinner with his family, thinking that shit like that only happen in fairy tales. But regardless, today he also eats a shit ton of food, finding it tasting better than usual. Seeing everyone's surprised reaction and the bowl empty, he starts to pull back his bowl. But his parents not let him, and his mom goes on to kick another bowl of rice for him. His dad starts patting him on the shoulder, calling eating more a good thing for puberty, and his puberty could improve his health status as well. But his sister again mocks him for only having health status of 0.8 despite being 18, saying that it won't improve much now. But their dad tells her off to stop belittling her brother all the time. Meanwhile, Lu Shung thinks that perhaps his health status really improved in his dreams and decides to get it checked at the dojo. Now at the Hongchuan dojo, Lu Shun explains that the master here is a rank 4 martial artist and once got top 10 rank in 23rd Martial Arts Conference. We also get to know the health status requirement, with rank 1 martial artist requiring 1.5 vitality and 150 combat power, rank 2 requiring 15 vitality and 1500 combat power. Rank 3 requires 100 vitality and combat power as high as 10,000, while rank 4 requires peak health of 200 and combat power of over 100,000. He is truly astonished by these facts and calls all high-level martial artists superhumans. And even the fees of this cram school is only something that wealthy families can afford, and he believes that their family can pay for it if his sister wishes to, since he doesn't need it anyways. Now as he walks inside, he gets greeted by the receptionist, asking if he is here to enroll in their class. But he replies he is only here to test his combat power and health status, and looking at him, the girl assumes that he is not from a wealthy family. And so, she straight points him towards the assessment machine. And once inside, he puts his hand over the glowing ball to get his vitality checked. And it went to 0.96, which is 0.2 more in just an hour, which gets Lu Shun excited. He gets happy knowing that he will be able to continue as a martial artist and also catch up to his genius sister. And now, he moves to the combat power test and stands in front of the dummy. He closes his eyes, knowing that the combat experience and power of those zombies are engraved in his mind. And with that, he finally lands a solid palm strike on the dummy. And with that attack, the dummy completely shakes. And his combat power comes out as 113, seeing which, he gets shocked as it is even more than the limit of his vitality. He gets excited thinking, as only sleeping 1 hour got him this results, what would happen if he were to sleep more? And he believes he would be reborn in a single night like this. Fast forward at his home, he tries to sleep, but is unable to at all. And it frustrates him a lot since he cannot sleep when he wants to. but sleeps when the classes are going on. But upon noting the time, he notes that it's too early for sleep and decides to go do some training. And now, when he starts his usual training in gymnastics, he notices that something is different. His patterns and moves are different, which makes him question, how is it possible, since he has been doing the same thing since he was a child? And suddenly, he gets a memory, the memory of a body training technique that the zombie learned when he was alive. We see him practicing those movements 200 more times. And every time he goes through it, he feels power surging inside him. And it's not just due to the body technique, but the breathing as well. He remembers the technique being taught in his memories and notes that the real treasure trove lies in his dreams now, as he is yielding better results in a day than in his whole life. But just then, he falls on his knees due to hunger. The reason for his hunger, he assumes, is because his body was forced to grow, his energy consumption couldn't keep up, and regular foods don't provide him enough nutrients that his body needs now, which means he would need pills. But with his current household income, it's impossible for him to afford them. And so, he finally decides to get off his ass and start earning some money. He remembers his school providing rewards for exceptional performance, and so decides to display his talent and abilities to get that reward. Now fast forward to next day at the sports gym in the locker room. Qiming and Lu Sheng seems to be changing, with Qiming commenting that they haven't had a practical lesson in a while, and is suddenly shocked upon seeing Lu Sheng's body. He tells Lu Sheng that he barely recognizes him in the past few days they didn't meet, with Lu Sheng telling him that he has been working out and his hair has grown longer as well. Qiming comments that he must be trying to get the attention of girls and show off in today's practical lessons. But from this, Lu Sheng thinks that perhaps this practical combat is his chance to show off. Now the students are gathered at the gym, with the instructor, Zhong Zhenghua, who informs students that they would be reviewing combat techniques they talked in class. Qiming tells Lu Sheng that Zhenghua is a rank 2 martial artist, and has even been to the battlefield, which can be seen by his scars. But Lu Sheng thinks that Zhenghua's techniques are too simple and unrefined, comparing to what he got from his dreams. And after finishing the techniques, he calls up young Yifei to demonstrate to class. All the girls wet themselves, calling Yifei handsome and strong, and the strongest in their class. Meanwhile, Qiming is annoyed due to the attention that Yifei gets from the girls. He finds it unfair that Yifei is handsome, rich, and gets the best pills too, with his vitality getting close to 1.2. And he also believes that the teachers are playing favorites with him. Lu Sheng thinks that if it was him from before, he would have agreed with Qiming, but now, he plans to grab them all with his own hands. And now as the spar ends, the teacher starts to give him some pointers to improve his technique, and he thanks him for the instructions. But in reality, he is a typical NPC douchebag, thinking of the teacher as a low life, compared to himself, who have a bright future ahead. And so, the teacher asks other students if someone can spar with Yifei, but everyone looks away in fear. Qiming says that no one would bother doing this, since Yifei would simply toss them around like a bitch. Zhenghua is quite disappointed, thinking that this happens every time, and he cannot teach other students like this. While this school is teaching them basics, only few of them will walking down the path in future. And they say that he is playing favorites, but with the exception of Yifei, who would even stand up, and just then, he meets the fierce gaze of Lu Sheng. He is quite shocked to see it, noting that those eyes belong to someone who has went through truly insane training. And with that, he picks Lu Sheng to spar Yifei with, thinking that he cannot believe such a talent was hiding in this class. Qiming tries to make Lu Sheng concede, telling him to not lose it all because of his pride. But he tells Qiming to not worry, as he has been training. The instructor tells them to be safe and gives a time limit of 10 minutes. And as they both stand against each other, their test of skills starts now. Zhenghua notes that Lu Sheng has no fear in his eyes and is completely cool, and wonders, why did he fail to notice such quality? And so, asks for his vitality from last test, and Lu Sheng replies, 0.802. Though Zhenghua finds it low, and thinks that maybe he was mistaken by his looks. Now as they get ready, Yifei tries to act like a nice guy, warning Lu Sheng to guard his vitals and shit, and Lu Sheng thanks him for the reminder. And as soon as the match starts, Yifei attacks him, and gets up close, but Lu Sheng remains calm and observes his movements and control the distance. The students are quite surprised, while Lu Sheng plans to take control of the rhythm, test the opponent, and then end with heavy blows, with it all being about vitality. Meanwhile, Yifei believes that the match has been decided, thinking of Lu Sheng as a pushover. But Lu Sheng dodges his attack, and starts charging up his own to counter, and lands a solid hit right on his face, sending him flying and tapping on the ground. All the students, as well as Instructor Dongua, are left shocked by seeing this, as they all shout that Lu Sheng has sent Ife flying with one punch. Everyone is shocked seeing him take Ife in a single punch, but the instructor quickly tells them to hurry up and call the teacher from nursing office, and soon enough we see Ife being taken to the nurses. Lu Sheng also apologizes to the teacher, saying that he couldn't control his power, and he forgives him, citing that injuries are inevitable during combat, and his injuries aren't severe either, and asks Lu Sheng to come with him to the office. And so he leaves, telling Qi Ming that he would be back later, as he is going to Zhengguo's office. Meanwhile, everyone is going crazy over Lu Sheng one-shotting Ife, wondering if he even is the same Lu Sheng that they knew, as we see Lu Sheng casting a big shadow over everyone now. Now at the teacher's office, Lu Sheng is surprised to see a bonsai tree there, commenting that he didn't knew Instructor Zhong had that hobby. And he replies, "It's just a small hobby," and glances back at Lu Sheng while saying that everyone has their own secrets, especially Lu Sheng, whose vitality is supposed to be at 0.8, and Lu Sheng replies that it was from last assessment as he said it before. Instructor Zheng questions if he used some drugs to increase it quickly, since doing that is not allowed in school, as it's quite harmful to the body, and Lu Sheng quickly denies, swearing that he never used such things. But regardless, he asks Lu Sheng to test his vitality once again, since if he used any drugs his vitality would fluctuate greatly. And after that, there will be combat test, and if that too is consistent, it would prove his ability. And so Lu Sheng begins his vitality test by putting his hand on top of the glowing ball. And Instructor Zhong is shocked upon seeing his vitality at 1.5, as it's on the level of an official martial artist. And with this level of vitality, not in just their school, but in the whole of White Lake City, there would be no genius like him. And now, Lu Sheng moves on to the combat test, which again shocks Instructor Zhong. We see he actually broke the testing device, sending it flying into the bonsai tree that Instructor Zhong was raising. Instructor Zhong notes that even though it was just a model made for student use, it was still capable of handling an attack of an official martial artist, meaning that Lu Sheng's current combat strength has surpassed rank 1 martial artist. A bit later, and Instructor Zheng asks Lu Sheng when was his last assessment, and when he replies that it was half a month ago, the shock causes Instructor Zhong to quickly stand up from his chair. He once again confirms if he just increased his vitality from 0.8 to that of an official martial artist in just half a month, and questions if he is some kind of heir of a noble clan or getting taught by some grandmaster. Lu Sheng denies both and tells him that the reason for his rapid growth is a secret. Meanwhile, Instructor Zheng sweats hearing that his vitality almost doubled and thinks that back in his day, his results were decent too. But when he grew up and went to the battlefield, only then he realized that it is impossible to defeat those monsters for mankind. In face of such unreasonable and incomprehensible strength, humans are weak, he believes. And as he was losing hope, someone arrives and one-shots the monster, causing Instructor Zhong to believe that only ones who can defeat those monsters are those with similar unreasonable strength, a group of people who are monsters in their own right. And so, he sighs and tells Lu Sheng that with his current results, he can get into the school's gifted class and also receive assistance from the best teachers, so he would contact Dean's office right away for him. But Lu Sheng replies that he is okay with his current class, thinking that he can advance faster in his dreams anyways. Instructor Zheng tries to convince that with his talents, the school will support him to the best. And in that case, Lu Sheng asks for 2 requests. One is to apply for a martial scholarship, and second is to allow him to have more flexible timetable. And so, Instructor Zheng realizes that Lu Sheng is lacking in free time and financial assistance and agrees to submit his application to the dean, and also tells him that he cannot afford to just wait idle till his application is submitted and gives him his card, telling Lu Sheng to pay him back when he gets the money. Lu Sheng is shocked to see it, as it's apparently a martial arts black card, with at least 100,000 in it, way more than he would get with scholarship, and so he thanks Instructor Zhong for it, who tells him to bring the school glory and sends him back to the class. Now as Lu Sheng leaves, Instructor Zhong is really excited that they finally have someone like him, and for now, he plans to keep him a secret until national examinations, and then terrify everyone from other schools. He also decides to go and quickly inform the higher-ups about him, and thinks that it's not just national examinations, but after so many years, they have someone who is capable of going to that place. Now a bit later, we see a shopkeeper selling some potions to female martial artists, costing 30,000, as Lu Xing watches from the back. Now a bit later, we see a shopkeeper selling some potions to female martial artists, costing 30,000, as Lu Xing watches from the back. And unlike him, Qinghe is a true genius, with talent to change her destiny, while he also takes away a share of that pitiful amount of resources that they have. He was unable to accept his mediocrity, and also didn't put in enough effort to change his destiny, and only wandered around aimlessly. He yearned to see the incredible martial arts world, but hid away in games, greedy for tiny connection with his previous life. He was like a fish trapped in a tank. He longed for the boundless sea, yet he was hesitant to part with the comfort and safety of the tank. However, all of this has changed, as he has once again obtained a chance to change his destiny. What he wants to do, and what he should do, he has realized, and this time, he believes that he won't make the wrong choice. And suddenly, the multitude of battle memories he gathered all gets integrated in a moment, and he finally broke through the bottleneck he was having with these techniques, making them truly his own. And he realizes that perhaps finding out one's true self is the epiphany that their teacher was talking about in class. And with this, he has taken another step on this path. He then calls out to his family, saying that he would keep becoming stronger to fight for what he wants. Fast forward, and he is again in his dreams, and seems to be fighting another zombie as he blocks its attack, and quickly takes it down with a single strike. He pants while noting that this zombie was a martial artist when he was alive, seeing as how he can use his skills even after becoming a zombie. And according to the memories he got from the zombie, base 1359 should be up ahead, though according to the memory, it should be surrounded by monsters and black mist, yet he haven't found a single one yet. He encounters 2 more zombies along the way, and quickly takes care of them. And with this, he finally arrives at base 1359. He jumps down, and upon noticing the wall, he calls it a huge city rather than a base, and that he wouldn't even be shocked if 2 behemoth monsters were to appear here. As he notices a huge hole in the wall, he gets quite anxious, as the walls are at least 120 meters thick, so it makes it hard to imagine for him that a battle could do such destruction, and that both the martial arts and development of civilization are far advanced in this world. And if a city like this fell to the monsters, he cannot imagine what future would be there for his city. He then notices one of the structures being different from others, and assumes it to be the command center. And as he looks closely, he sees an old zombie sitting there with glowing eyes. But when he meets his gaze, he suddenly feels an immense amount of pressure, and starts panting heavily, noting it to be some kind of psychic power and a terrifying and intimidating force. He realizes that his MC plot armor won't work on him, so he decides to leave him be till he becomes more stronger. He then plans to survey his surroundings, since the zombies down there don't seem so scary. And upon getting down, he quickly takes care of the zombies along the way. He then arrives at some base, with no zombies, and it looks like a regular apartment. And upon observing the things around them, he notes that they must be eating when the apocalypse came onto them. And there, he also notices some kind of panel which is still glowing, so he touches it, assuming that it's still working. Suddenly, a hologram appears from it, ending its standby mode. A virtual hologram appears in form of a beautiful girl, welcoming him as the user of Tianheng technology. Lu Shung is quite shocked upon seeing her, and even more surprised upon noticing that she is speaking in the same language as him. He wonders if it's some kind of auto-translation or something. But the girl speaks up. She is apparently an artificial intelligence of the 10th generation called Ellie, and is responsible for controlling the network server management of base 1359. And with this, Lu Xing notes that it must be some really futuristic technology, and asks Ellie to get him the latest news. She tries connecting to Skynet, but fails, so she then tries accessing base 1359's database, which she is successful in doing so. And suddenly, a bunch of news pops up, with a lot of future things, even the existence of a rank 10 martial artist. Lu Xing is surprised to know about a rank 10 martial artist, since if their ranking system is same as their world, then he cannot even imagine the heights their martial arts have reached. And then another screen pops up, showing a monster breaking through a crack in the sky. And seeing this, he gets terrified, as even though this world's technology and martial arts have reached unimaginable heights, and despite the rank 10 powerhouses, their sturdy city walls, in face of those monsters, they weren't able to protect anyone at all. In fact, they even decided to abandon their home planet and sent out an exploration team to find another habitable planet. But till the day civilization fell, they weren't able to find anything. And so, Lu Sheng believes that they sure won't be able to escape the fate of destructions either, and calls the fall of such glorious civilization a shame. He then asks Ellie to bring up the history of this world, which she complies with. He then starts reading it, thinking that perhaps they can learn something from their experiences and avoid the same fate as them. But as he keeps on reading, the way the monsters appeared, and the existence of World Martial Alliance, he realizes something. That it's actually the history of their world. The same language, the same martial arts ranking. So all that he just saw was not the destruction of another world, but the future of their world 10,000 years later. But he still gets doubts that it might just be a parallel universe, and asks Ellie if she can bring up some information about specific individuals. And he asks her to search his own name, and he actually finds his information as well. Though he notes that he only lived till 28, and on top of that he was just a civilian. He then asks for another request to search for his name again, this time in year 299. But the access gets denied, as guest does not have the permission to view information about martial artists, and he gets asked to provide a blood sample to be registered as a user first. And so, he wonders, how can he do that? And if there's some syringe installed here somewhere. But Ellie sucks on her finger suddenly, and it causes him to blush. And when the drop of blood comes out, she sucks it and starts the analysis, causing Lu Sheng to realize that it's how they do it in the future. Suddenly, something starts to happen to her, as Lu Sheng tries asking, what is wrong? And when his analysis of genetic sample completes, the Project Fireseed gets activated. Lu Sheng wonders, what is Fireseed? And if it has something to do with the plan of finding new habitable planet. Suddenly, he gets new info about himself as he notes that his profile looks different. And he quickly realizes that the future has changed and starts to look at the details. He graduated from Baiha High School with top grades and placed 23rd in whole of Baiha City. He enrolled in Baiha Martial University and joined military 3 years later. He served in the Tian'an Military Division and died in the Southern War Zone. His age of death was 37, unmarried, at lieutenant rank without any outstanding contributions. And so, seeing this, he wonders if after he became stronger, the future changed as well. The trajectory of his life is same before he turned 18, and there is a record of his sudden surge in strength as well. Yet in the face of heft of history, his little bit of achievement didn't even cause a ripple. In the vast human database, he cannot even be considered genius, since in these 10,000 years, there must have been way too many of them to count. Legends who left a mark are no more than a handful. But he also knows that the data here is not perfect. The records state that his vitality was 2012, and combat power, 257. If he disregards the dream world, at his current rate, getting those results in 200 days is expected. But he believes that he will surpass those results for sure, if he takes into account the cultivation and gains he made in the dream world. He believes that he cannot just be ranked at 23rd, he must be in the national rankings, with his name known throughout. And so, he believes that his future will surely amount much more than that. And if he can change the future by becoming stronger, then he believes that the fate of impending destruction will be averted by him. And so, he plans to turn things around and save them all. He will become the spark that will light a blaze through the humanity. Now fast forward, and we see him back at his home and eating with his family, with his mom questioning if he doesn't have school today. And he replies that his teacher told him that he can choose to study at home from now on, and he don't have to go to school. This thing causes Chingha to wonder if the school had a self-study option, since she never heard about it before. Soon enough after eating, Lu Sheng starts heading back to his room to train, and his mom cheers him on for it. Meanwhile, Chingha notices the change in him, noting that he is no longer the fool he once was, and has become more dark and mysterious. Back at his room, he receives a call from Instructor Shung, and he tells him that his scholarship money is here, he can come pick it up in afternoon, and Lu Sheng thanks him. The teacher continues and asks, why did he not come to school today, since they were going to discuss his academic schedule. But Lu Sheng tells him that he don't have much time left, and he cannot explain it to at this moment, and cuts the call with that. He thinks that he has no time to think about becoming a target when he grows strong. He wants to display his strength to its full extent and shock everyone. Because by displaying talent, he would be able to get more resources, and once he makes it to the peak, he will look for a way to change the future. Now back in the dream world, he asks Ellie to pull up all the cultivation method and notes about martial artists that he can access with his permission. And it comes up with 465,751 results, which Lu Sheng finds way too much, and so he asks her to filter the results to show the most suitable techniques for rank 1 martial artist and are also worth it. And with that, Ellie quickly starts filtering the techniques which are suitable for him, and finds 3 results. Lu Xing notes that these are the best techniques from all 10,000 years. First is Stellar Body Refining Technique, Introductory Volume, created by Wang He, a rank 11 powerhouse, and incorporated it in Fire Seed. Second is Natural Breathing Technique, Introductory Volume, created by Yujo, another rank 11 powerhouse, incorporated it in Fire Seed. Third is Crystal Visualization Technique, Introductory Volume, created by Duan Feng, another rank 11 powerhouse, and incorporated into Fire Seed. Lu Sheng is shocked upon learning about rank 11 martial artist, as currently, the strongest martial artist is no higher than rank 9. He notes even though they are just introductory volumes, their value is immense. And these techniques were embedded in Project Fire Seed. Perhaps they thought they could preserve their life's learning, in hopes that someone in the future would use it, but they never would have thought that the one who picked it up is not from the future, but someone who lived long before them. And so he quickly starts with the Stellar Body Refining Technique, in which he concentrates and quell all thoughts to keep up the focus in mind. He has to condense the heart and mind into every single cell to refine the chi and blood and strengthening the physique. Every cell transforms into stars with infinite power and transform flowing blood into a surging galaxy, and the inner body into a boundless starfield. It also refines the muscle density to terrifying heights, and also help his defense and strength to become unimaginably strong, with the vitality of a blazing star. He finds the effect of this technique incredible comparing it to his old one. The effect is 1,000 times of it, even though it's just an introductory volume. Next up is Natural Breathing Technique, and with its stage 1, he uses fire breathing. With this, he feels countless flames are burning inside his body and his body feels boiling hot as well, and this is just the fire breathing. Now next up is Crystal Visualization Technique. It purifies the mind, reinforces the will and touch upon the most mysterious part of the spiritual power and martial arts cultivation, which makes him think if it's used to cultivate spiritual power and decides to give it a try. And as he focuses, he reaches a mindscape. He goes on to the floating body, noting that spiritual power is really important in cultivation of martial arts. A strong-willed martial artist without any distractions will always be far stronger than a weak-willed martial artist. But Lu Xing doesn't get how he is supposed to practice this one and decides to figure out slowly for this one. He now gets back up and pants heavily, noting that this level of exhaustion is something else. He doesn't feel like how it does when he is dreaming. He starts to stink and notices his body being all dirty, and notes that training inside the mindscape also affects his real body. He decides to take a shower, as the effects of Stellar Body Technique and Natural Breathing Technique have compounded and have forced out impurities out of his body. He finds it all hard to believe, and his cultivation is improving at an insane speed, and when he gets scholarship money later, he can start refining tonics and potions as well. And with the precious recipes of 10,000 years in the future, they can provide great boosts to his abilities, and they can even change the pharmaceutical future of the entire world. Now fast forward and he is back at school, where Instructor Shung is telling him to at least give him a heads up if he decides to not attend, and he apologizes for the inconvenience. But Instructor Shung tells him to go and do what he wants, and as he leaves, Instructor Shung notices something. That even though it's only been 2 days, yet looking at him, he feels like he cannot get a grasp on him anymore. On the way home, he decides to do something about his poor vitality. He got the medicine prescription from the future, so the tonics he make himself would be the most effective. And among the prescriptions he found there, the one that suited him the most at his current level is the muscle and blood strengthening decoction and the marrow nourishing pill. But he notes that he would need professional equipment to make this, since even the slightest of mistake can make an astronomical difference in its effect. And for him, it's not possible to buy a professional equipment, and he don't have enough money for that either. So he plans to rent the equipment from a medicine hall. But when he talks to the owner, he rejects his proposal, citing that it's the most critical part of every medicinal hall, so he cannot just lend it to him because he wants to. And a bit later, he has tried out 7 different establishments, only to be rejected by all of them. He got all the ingredients to make it, even make them several times, and the card that Instructor Shung gave him had 80,000 instead of 30, which is probably a personal sponsorship from him. And if there is no other way, then he plans to buy some rudimentary equipment online and give it a shot. But upon arriving in some back alley, he sees another medicinal hall, And as he walks inside and greets the clerk, he ignores Lu Xing. And upon noticing Lu Xing, who again tries to greet, but the clerk ignores and tells him to find what he needs himself and bring it to him to make payment. But Lu Xing tries to tell him that he is not here to buy, but the clerk once again speaks over him, to not even think about running away without paying and shit. Lu Xing starts to get pissed at his behavior, even compared to previous shopkeepers, noting that this guy isn't concerned about his business at all. And so, Lu Xing stomps down on his phone with his palm. And the clerk gets pissed and tries to threaten Lu Xing. But upon seeing Lu Xing's expression, he gets scared and asks, what does he want? Lu Xing asks if they have a medicinal lab here, and the clerk replies, isn't he here to buy tonics? Why does he care? And Lu Xing replies, if there is, then he has a business proposal for him. And so, the clerk brings him to their medicinal hall, but stops Lu Xing right before he enters, and confirms their deal once again, 500 per hour, and he can only use it for 3 hours at most, and also, he would need the payment up front. And so, after the payment, Lu Xing enters the lab. He then puts on the clothes and begins to make his tonic number 1. First, he starts with the ingredients. He removes the scales of green-scaled lizards and activates its medicinal properties, then add neutralizing agent and mix with a concentration of 35 and preserve it in constant temperature. Next up, he liquefies the moonstone and use radioactive laser ray to adjust a specific wavelength, decompose the material into a flowing liquid form, and collect and chill it. For the last part, he cuts 30 grams of lithified tuna tree root, and after these preparations, he needs to adjust the medicinal properties and start mixing them according to the proper ratio and reactions. And with that, he finally got the potion, with first try at that, a tonic from 10,000 years in the future. But whether it's a success or not, he can decide after drinking it. And upon drinking it, at first, he doesn't notice anything different and wonders if he failed. But suddenly, he starts to feel its effects and falls on the ground while screaming in pain. And after a bit, he finally calms down and notes that it has incredible efficiency. It filled up his vitality void that was created from advancing too quickly in an instant. He even got more vitality than he needed. It is so potent, yet it doesn't cause any harm, which he finds unbelievable, and on top of that, it even affects his skin, shrinking his pores, widening and moisturizing his skin, and so on. Suddenly, he gets a knock on the door, and he opens the door and tells the clerk that the time is not up yet, and he shouldn't disturb him when he is inside. But the clerk is panicking and tells Lu Xing to hurry up as she is back, her boss that is, and tells him to quickly leave through the back door, as we see someone stepping outside of a car. And then finally, we get to look at our first waifu of the series. A bit later, and we see her arriving at the store with a bunch of tonics. And upon drinking them, she complains that all of them are no good, their medicinal effects are beyond poor, and their properties aren't even brought into play, to the point she cannot even consider them tonic. While there, she also seems to watching a TV ad for some tonic, and seems quite pissed, thinking that the pharmaceutical industry has been changing every day with the rapid development of martial arts, and new and better tonics are being developed every day, forcing old ones to be eliminated. It is also the reason that her family has declined so much. They became too conservative and stuck on their old habits. Their medicinal hall is selling old remedies from 100 years ago, which have made them completely lose their competitive edge. And if they cannot find new prescriptions, this family business that her dad entrusted her with go down. And so, she decides to collaborate with some expert alchemist if they don't have the power to make good tonics themselves, mainly someone named Zhang from other city, who has developed a new prescription, which she needs, otherwise they would go out of business. While walking, she meets up with the clerk, and we learn her initial name to be Hei, as the clerk asks her if she is going to the neighboring city. But she completely ignores him and goes on her way, while he fantasizes about her beauty and all and calls her his goddess. He knows her family situation and fantasizes about helping her, which in turn would get her to fall in love with her, and they would have a happy end. Hei starts shouting his name, which is Ma Fei, but he answers her call while still being in his own world. Seeing the coat, she questions Ma Fei if he secretly brought someone to her alchemist lab. Seeing her anger, he thinks that she looks really pretty even when angry, and suddenly realizes what she just asked and panics, while telling her that he didn't bring in anyone. She sighs in disappointment and fires Ma Fei, who tries to tell her to at least let him explain. Back in the lab, she is quite angry, noting that she would have washed and disinfect the lab coat and the table as well, and gets more angry seeing how that person used her activator and laser controller. And then, She notices that they used activator to activate the green-scaled lizard, but removed the scales, which are the most valuable part, something she has never seen before. But she chuckles, thinking that it must be someone amateur thinking to create his own tonics and prescription, and believes it to be not possible since it requires vast pharmacological knowledge. But she realizes that it's also the same thing that she is trying to do right now, putting her hope on something unrealistic. She also notices the vial of tonic broken on the ground, which makes her wonder how many surprises she is yet to see today. She picks it up and starts analyzing, and recognizes that it's condensed moonstone with a combination of lithified tuna tree root, and with such a reaction as well. Upon looking closely, she notes that it's a prescription unlike any other she has seen. And so, she takes a bit of it on her finger and puts one drop of it in her mouth, and gets shocked from its effects. We switch scenes to Ma Fei, who seems to be blaming Lu Xing for getting him into this, and seems to be praying to God to let him meet her goddess again. And just then, as he glances back, he sees Hei running towards him and shouting his name, telling him to stop and not go. He gets really excited due to this, and tries to jump on her, saying weird shit like he knew that she was worried for him and all. But she grabs him by the collar, and questions him who used her lab, and demands to meet him now. She doesn't even give him a moment and repeatedly shakes him, telling him that if he can find him, then she will instate him back to work, and will also double his pay. He then takes out his phone, telling her that he have his contact, and she quickly drops him and takes his phone in a hurry. Noting that prescription's blood-strengthening effect is at least 10 times greater than the tonics available on market for $100,000, and it even has various effects on skin, which makes her call the tonic world-class, and believes that she finally found it, the chance for her family. We switch scenes to Lu Xing, who seems to be training, and as he finishes up, he notes that the stellar body technique is incredible, and its ability to unlock the potential of human body is beyond comprehension, and at this rate, he would really be able to get an actual star within his body. But the natural breathing technique is also incredible. Without its complementary actions, the effects of stellar body technique wouldn't be as good. His vitality has also increased a lot, as the effects of the tonics he created are really good, and with his current physique, 2 potions would be enough, so he would need to make more in 6 days. Suddenly, he gets a call from someone, and as he picks it up, Hei quickly apologizes for disturbing and introduces herself as Hei Susu, and tells him that she tasted the tonic he left behind and asks him to collaborate with her to promote it. And he agrees to meet her in a week's time, but she tries to make a meet possible right now, but he cuts the call. She again goes on to Ma Fei and tells him to find this master, and if he finds him within 6 days, then she would pay him $10,000. He gets happy hearing that, but asks if she got something wrong, and tells her that the one who borrowed the lab is less than 20 years old and seems like a student. Hearing this greatly shocks her, as she wonders just who is that person. Fast forward and Lu Xing is again in the dream world and fighting the zombies. But the flying head of that zombie seems to caught by another zombie. And for today, Lu Xing declares him to be a target, as he wants to see if he can take on a rank 4 martial artist like him while being a rank 1 martial artist himself. The zombie lands a punch of Lu Xing, which he blocks. But even just the blocking, Lu Xing notes that its force is at least twice as strong as his, and he cannot afford to take on his blows head-on. And when the zombie tries to punch him again, this time Lu Xing dodges and gets behind him, and quickly lands a solid kick on him, causing the zombie to fall on the ground. And lastly, he stomps on his head, finally crushing it and kill him. But he pays his respect, noting that this one died on the front lines. While killing the monsters and protecting the city, he is not just a XP fodder, but a human being who passed on. And after absorbing, he realizes that this zombie was actually a rank 5 martial artist when he was alive, and if not for the fact that he had no intelligence and only one arm, which caused it to only able to fight using the fighting instinct left in his muscles, it would have been impossible to defeat him. And now it's been almost 2 weeks since he has been training using natural breathing and stellar body technique. His vitality has increased rapidly due to the tonic he made. And if he integrate both of the technique, then he would be able to exert power that is several hundred times more than he usually does. And suddenly, we see some zombies starting to surround Lu Xing as he prepares to use his new attack, which combines both of those technique. And he names that attack Stellar Impact. Now fast forward to Hongchuan Dojo again. Lu Xing greets the receptionist there and asks her if there is any empty room available for assessment. The receptionist recognizes him, asking if he is back already, and if it's because the examinations are near, and tells him that vitality doesn't increase this quickly. He chuckles and replies that he was just wondering if it went up a little, and remembers that it's second time here this month, and normally people only get it checked once every few months or even once every 6 months. But regardless, she chuckles and gives him the room while wishing him luck, and he thanks her for that. Inside the room, he thinks that he wouldn't have bothered coming here so often if he was barely seeing any results, and decides to test his vitality first. And upon testing, his vitality has reached 15.6, which is a big increase, and even surpassing the standard of a rank 2 martial artist. But he realizes that it does make sense, since he has been using tonics and techniques from 10,000 years in the future, so the crazy results aren't strange. And now, he goes on to test his combat power. And now as he lands a solid punch on the testing device, his score is 3,137, which is really and more than twice the standard requirement. Suddenly, he realizes that he can increase it even further. If he uses his ultimate combat power, it should be much higher than this. And so he tests it one more time, and this time decides to use his stellar impact on the device. A bit later, and we see him coming out of the room, and seeing his expression, the receptionist comments that he looks pretty pleased. And he smiles and replies that he indeed is, and leaves as the receptionist wishes him good luck. She blushes a little, calling Lu Shung a brat for acting a little cool, though he does find him good looking when he smiles. And now we get entry of another waifu, Ni Shuang, who is the daughter of this dojo master, as she asks the receptionist, who is she talking about? Shuang also tells her that he saw her getting all googly-eyed, and asks if it's that person who came here for assessment, and she replies that he was just a normal high school student, but she does find him quite handsome. The red-haired behind Shuang acts unimpressed, calling it useless to being handsome since the society works on power, and judges him by his clothes that he must be from an ordinary household, and believes it's pointless no matter how many times he assesses himself. Shuang thinks that the poor dwells in the academy while martial arts are for the rich, and Lanner has been taking all sorts of tonics since he was young, and his vitality is much more than even others who began cultivating before him. And now that he is practicing martial arts, the gap between him and his peers has increased even more, which is why he is getting arrogant. And so, Shuang smacks him on the head, telling him to not compare himself to children from ordinary households, since he has access to good resources, which should be more of a reason for him to work harder. But regardless, Lana tells Shuang that he wants to see the results of assessment of that guy, and Shuang asks for the reason for doing so. He replies that he looked a few years older than him, and should be a student, so he just wants to see if his hard work has resulted in anything, and starts shaking and requesting her for it. She finally gives in, and tells him to not be too complacent since those results are of a normal person. And so, the receptionist pulls up his results, as apparently he was the only to have an assessment today. And upon seeing the results, Shuang is left completely flabbergasted by them. Lana asks if the assessment machine is broken, in complete shock, and the receptionist replies that they got it serviced yesterday. And so Shuang realizes that it means these results are real. They all panic, and Shuang asks the receptionist if she have his contact or anything, but she replies she don't, since he is not a registered member, but he comes frequently, so he must be living nearby. So Shuang tells her to contact all the agents and collect all the information on students in this area, since they have to find him, no matter what. And while looking at the results, she states and is completely determined that she will find him. Meanwhile, we see Lu Sheng arriving somewhere, with the driver giving a thumbs up to him since he had a great talk with him, and also offers to introduce his daughter to him next time. Lu Sheng thinks that the driver was too passionate, and that he should have told him that he is going to Martial Arts Association to take a Rank 2 Martial Artist Certification assessment. Then the driver would have thought of him as someone crazy, and wouldn't have talked so much. And as he is about to enter, a guy comes running out and crying about his results, stating that his results were better at home. Meanwhile, other comments that machines in Martial Arts Association are custom-made and highly precise, unlike those sold outside, so the results have to be better than necessary to pass the test. But Lu Xing thinks of it as a great thing, since he can find out true grasp of his abilities. Once inside, he asks the receptionist about the location for certification, and she asks him to fill out a form first. And as he enters the room, the queue is crazy there. He notes that he really don't have time, but there is nothing he can do. He then overhears some people talking about a pretty-looking girl here. They comment that she must be extraordinary, as she is quite young and got both looks and ability, as we see everyone around her is blushing as well. Lu Xing notes that most people in line are around 20 years old, and he already looks young here. and she looks even younger than him. Suddenly, a huge guy enters the room and pushes around everyone. One of the NPC is showing off in front of his girl about getting assessed for a rank 1 martial artist, but the huge guy pushes him around with a finger. Everyone is shocked upon seeing him, as they notice his exceptional physique. Suddenly, the girl of the guy from before complains to him for cutting in the line, and argues, how can he do that just because he thinks he is a bit bigger? But the guard tells her that he can, as looking at his application, he deserves to go first, as apparently he is going for a rank 3 martial artist certification assessment. Hearing which shocks everyone, as there are only 10 rank 3 martial artists in Bias City. Hearing which shocks everyone, as there are only 10 rank 3 martial artists in Bias City. And with that he goes forward for his assessment, with first thing being a vitality test. The girl from before is still stuck up, saying that it's not like he actually got certified for a rank 3 certificate. But upon testing, his vitality comes out as 107, which is even more than the requirement, and everyone's goes crazy over it. Now in the combat assessment test, when he punches the machine, it creates a huge shockwave and pushes everyone away, though Lu Xing is still completely fine. And the result is 10831, which the guard calls quite impressive, and so the guy, Zhao Chafeng, becomes an official rank 3 martial artist and also receives a monthly allowance of 30,000. And as he turns back, he notices that the purple jacket girl and Lu Sheng are still standing fine against his shockwave. Everyone comments that even the wind pressure created from his fist was enough to push away rank 1 martial artist from their feet, and the purple jacket girl calls him a Terminator for this. But Lu Sheng seems unimpressed as he walks towards the assessment, saying in an uninterested tone, if that is the standard of a rank 3 martial artist. Hearing which, the girl thinks, what does he mean by this? As all he did was stand firm against the shockwave from that punch, yet he is acting like a big shot. He shows the guard his form, asking if he can go next, since there is no one in the line anymore. The guard seems impressed with him, noting that he is still calm despite experiencing that punch now, and allows him to go up next. And as Lu Xing is starting, the guard tries to cheer him by telling him to not be too nervous. But once he sees the vitality results, he is left shocked. And so is the girl, who comments, if he has tonics running in his veins instead of blood. Changfeng is also shocked upon seeing this level of vitality and being a rank 2 martial artist at his age. He then moves on to the combat test. Once again, the guard tells him to not let Changfeng's punch get to him, and he can try as long as he like till he get the results. And Lu Sheng chuckles and thanks him, but says that one punch would be enough, as he uses his stellar impact. It causes a bright purple light, and Changfeng and the girl seems to be shocked, as the whole room starts glowing. And his punch causes a huge crater on the wall behind, as everyone watches. And his combat power turns out to be 15,709. After he achieved the breakthrough with his fist technique, along with his stellar impact and the natural breathing technique, his combat power has increased 10 times that of his vitality requirement, which is the result of martial arts skills. Meanwhile, the guard behind him is freaking out and congratulates him for passing rank martial assessment, but says that his abilities far surpasses rank 2 and 3 martial arts assessment. And so he apologized for not giving him a grade right now, and tells him that he is going to report it to the higher-ups, as they would not leave any talents unturned, especially someone like him. And he quickly runs away with his form, right to the higher-ups, stating that he would put his career on the stake and will give him a satisfactory reply. While Lu Xing wonders if it means he can go home now. And now, we see Changfeng is suddenly standing behind Lu Xing as he asks him if he wants something from him. He pulls away his hand and seems to be trying to attack, but in reality, he reaches for a handshake and introduces himself. And so, Lu Xing shakes his hand in return as well and introduces his name too. Suddenly, a whole bunch of people rushes at him and asks him for a handshake and start clicking his pics as if he is some celebrity, and he quickly runs away from the scene. Meanwhile, outside, we see Qinghe standing with her friends and seems to be waiting for their senior sister to complete her rank 1 martial artist assessment. And just then, Qinghe sees his brother Lu Sheng coming out of there. He approaches her and her friends, asking, what is she doing here? And she gets grumpy and asks that she should be saying that to him. What is he doing here since all he does is sleeping in his room all day? Though Lu Xing wonders, how does she even knows that he sleeps all day in his room, and simply tells her that he had something to do and once again asks, what were they doing here? Her friends introduces themselves, Feng Fan Fan and Su Nua, and they came here to accompany their senior sister, young Yuan who is taking assessment there. And she also compliments him that he looks really handsome, unlike what Qinghe described him to be, and he thanks her for that. And Qinghe gets quite annoyed at that. Regardless, he pats her on the head and leaves with a goodbye, and her friends also says their goodbyes to him. They tease Qinghe about having a good relationship with her brother, which she denies, while Su Nuo comments that their senior sister is out. And it's the same girl from before, who seems quite distressed as her friends asks if she passed the test. But she sighs and replies to not talk about an unexpected incident happened there, so she would have to wait till afternoon. Fanfan asks her what happened and what could put an assessment on hold. And she states that there was a monster there, a guy about her age, but with a vitality of 15.7 and a combat power that surpasses that of a rank 3 martial artist. And she used to think that she was talented, but seeing him today, she realized that her tiny bits of talents are a joke. And Fanfan asks her if she knows the name of the person, and she replies, his name was Lu Shung. And Qinghe gets shocked knowing that it's her brother. While walking back, he notes some people frantically searching for someone, and they are apparently from the Hongchuan Dojo, while everyone around comments that they feel bad for the poor who incurred their rage. Lu Shung remembers that he went for a test there, and wonders if they were really that fierce, though he decides to ignore it, since it doesn't have anything to do with him. He also keeps getting calls from Ma Fei, and he decides to ignore him for now, since his medical prescription from the future could give him insane money, so he will decide later if they are going to be someone he will work with. Fast forward, and he is back at his dream world and again activates Ellie. He once again asks her to pull up his biography, and it has changed again. He became a level 2 martial artist at the age of 18, shocking the city, and participated in Dongning Prodigy training camp and ranked top 20. Graduated 3 years later and entered the military, and retired honorably as captain 5 years later and founded an academy in Baya City. Attempted a promotion to rank 7 but failed at the age of 50, died in a monster ambush in Baya City on July at the age of 87. And so, he realizes that the future can be changed, at least his, since he was rank 4 martial artist before, and now he died at a rank 6, and even lived to his 80s. But he knows that it's far from enough. To the future world, this tiny change is meaningless. He wants to change the fate of mankind and pry the course of entire 10,000 years future off its tracks. So rank 6 martial artist is nothing, or even rank 9 will be helpless in the future. So if he wants to change the trajectory of their fate, then he would need to reach the peak of martial arts. Even though there is just a glimmer of hope, but now that he has decided to walk down this path, he won't look back. We now switch scenes to Chairman Xiao doing calligraphy, and with another person commenting that he seems full of energy and seems to only be a matter of time till he advances to rank 7. And we see it's some old dude behind a screen, who continues that only if Chairman Xiao could put as much effort into nurturing people, it would be even better. And so we are introduced to Xiao Yuhe, chairman of the Baihe Martial Arts Association, peak of rank 6. He tells the elder to not make fun of him. He would like Baihe City to produce more martial arts talents as well. But their city is devoid of any established martial arts families, and they do not have the resources needed to support them. And so, anyone with even tiny bit of talent would think to go someplace else. As much as he wants to nurture them, there is nothing he can do. And then, Elder informs Chairman Xiao that training camp is right around the corner, and they have not sent any participants in many years now. For their city, it can be overlooked that they don't have any achievements, but it would be utterly shameless if they don't even have one person to send to camp. And so, this time no matter what, he has to maintain the dignity of Baihe City. Chairman Xiao gets quite frustrated, stating that he would like to discover talents and accomplish achievements and progress as well. If he can get to a higher position and obtain those resources, he wouldn't have been wasting time doing calligraphy, and he has been stuck on this rank for too long. And just then, her secretary comes running, shouting that a situation has popped at the martial assessment area. He questions, why is she panicking, and she should at least knock before entering. She apologizes for that, and quickly hands over a tablet, saying that the examiner gave her important news, and informs him that there is an 18-year-old who is a rank 2 martial artist with over 15,000 combat power. Chairman Xiao also gets shocked, and quickly asks her to show him the recording, and upon seeing Lu Shung in action, he realizes that it's a perfection stage fist technique, which his secretary doesn't understand. And he tells her that it's a term martial artist uses, so she won't understand. So there is only one thing that she needs to know. For someone his age to have a fist technique at that stage, there wouldn't be more than 10 in the world on par with him. He then thinks of it as impossible, as even with that technique, it's impossible to have combat power of over 15,000 with a vitality of 15.7, because that technique at most increased the power by twofold. But regardless, he starts laughing suddenly, stating that it can only be that. There is no explanation to it. He then excitedly lifts up his secretary, calling Lu Sheng a 1 in a billion gifted martial artist. He starts spinning her around as she asks, "What is a gifted martial artist?" And he explains that among cultivators there are some who are endowed with great gifts. They are capable of awakening supreme power beyond the imagination of normal people, and after the awakening they see a great surge in their vitality and combat power. Someone gets shockingly explosive power, while others become fast as lightning. But regardless, he tells her to hurry up, as he wants to greet and meet his parents, and she goes on to inform the driver right away. We now switch scenes to Shung, as one of her workers tells her that they found him. She quickly asks, what did he found, and he replies that his name is Lu Sheng, and he is a student at Baiha High. His father is a delivery man and mother is a cashier at supermarket. He also has a sister as well in high school first year. The guy also doesn't know why is she looking for him, and asks if he caused her some trouble, and tells her to leave it be, but she gets annoyed and tells him that it's not what he thinks. She also seems to get a call and information that Martial Association is also acting up. And so, she quickly tells her assistant to buy some luxurious gifts suitable for parents and a teenage girl. Thinking that she has finally found him, we switch scenes to Lu Sheng as Qinghe knocks on his door, telling him that he got visitors, so he should hurry up. And upon hearing Qinghe call him brother, he thinks it's been quite a long time since then. And as he comes out, his mother quickly asks him to come here, and before she can introduce his visitor, Chairman Shao gets up and introduces himself, saying that he has come to see him about his certification assessment. And Lu Sheng also introduces himself and notes that Chairman Shao is on the brink of being a master. Seeing Lu Sheng, Chairman Shao finds his calm and collective attitude quite good, and calls him a rare sight for having a steady temperature. He then turns towards Shuang, and his mother tells him that she is Ni Shuang from Hongchuan Martial Arts Academy. She also greets him and asks him if he remembers meeting her at the Martial Arts Academy, which he does, and so he also greets her. Now as they all sit down, Chairman Shao tells him that he would cut to the chase. On behalf of their Martial Arts Association, he is issuing him an official Rank 2 Martial Artist badge, and his monthly allowance would be paid according to a Rank 3 Martial Artist due to his combat power, and he will even get $1 million award for his exceptional martial arts talent. And his family is completely shocked by all this, while Chairman Shao tells him to bring more glory to their city. Lu Sheng expresses his gratitude towards him for his encouragement and support, but he believes that there is no free lunch in this world and asks if there is something he can help him with. And Chairman reaches to his pocket while telling Lu Sheng that he keeps surprising him. He takes out an envelope stating that he is hoping Lu Sheng would attend the Prodigy training camp which is going to be held in Dongning province. Shuang suddenly stands up hearing that, acknowledging that it's indeed a place where the most talented geniuses are gathered, but it's also a place where geniuses are ruined. A senior brother of her who had the highest hopes of attending this very camp in the past, upon returning, he who used to be full of vigor and spirit, was utterly defeated and simply faded into background. And with Lu Sheng's talent, the sky is the limit, so there is no need to take such risks, and Chairman Shao agrees with the risks. As it's indeed a place where true talents are sieved out, and the huge amount of geniuses could end up becoming stepping stone for someone, but he believes that Lu Sheng is different from the abilities he displayed. The heights he will reach in the future is far greater than what he has now. But regardless, he will respect his decision and asks, what will he do now? And Lu Sheng smiles while agreeing with Chairman Shao, as he also believes that he has yet to reach his limit, and accepts the invitation with confidence. And so, Chairman Shao tells him that he would come to pick him up in 2 days, and won't disturb any further and leaves. And now as he leaves, Lu Sheng turns towards Shuang and asks for her reason of coming here. And seeing him, her heart skips a bit, as she thinks that he is a lot more handsome than in the picture, and tells him that she is here to invite him to become honorary disciple of their Hongchuan Martial Academy. Lu Sheng asks, what does she mean? And she explains that it's same as being a disciple, it's just he won't have to turn up every day, but he can come whenever he wishes to, all classes and equipment would be free to use, and he can even have her father as his instructor. He would even get treatment like a high-ranking instructor. She thinks that it would be a headline if they were to have an 18-year-old rank 2 martial artist as their honorary disciple, their martial academy will blow up in Baya City. But Lu Sheng declines her offer. She tries telling him that it's all negotiable, and he tells her that he is okay with being an honorary member, though she can use him to advertise that he usually comes to their martial academy, since it's true. Other than that, he declines to even being a disciple in name. If she is willing to accept it, then he is good, and if not, then he would have to apologize. But regardless of that, he would keep coming there for assessment since it's close to his home. And after thinking for a bit, Shung agrees and asks him to keep honorary member role exclusive to them. She would also be sending him a stipend of 100,000 every month, and leaves while telling him goodbye. His parents are shocked and unable to believe what just happened. The fact that he just got $1 million and a stipend of $100,000 every month is huge to them. He gently grabs her mom's hand, saying that it's all real. He has really become a rank 2 martial artist. Now she won't have to work at night anymore. And also tells his dad that he won't have to take those labor jobs anymore, since the back of his cannot hold any longer. And they all have a sweet family moment as Lu Sheng tells them that they can stop pushing themselves now. Now we switch scenes to Xingshan Medicinal Hall, where Susu is frustrated that it's been a week and she still doesn't even has his name. She has looked through all the information of recently registered alchemist masters, yet there is nothing, making her question just where did such a genius master alchemist came from. And when she analyzed the tonic he made further, the data was simply startling to her. Not only it's several times stronger than any tonics available in the market, it has tons of supplementary effects and barely any side effects in return. On top of that, its cost of production is not even $3,000, while a grade 3 tonic can cost several thousand to produce. She slams her desk in anger, questioning, whereas he and Ma Fei get scared of her anger. Suddenly, he tells her that he found the alchemist master. She stands up quickly, asking, where is he? And he points at the TV, and we see Lu Sheng is in the news, since he became a rank 2 martial artist at his age, so he is being congratulated by the news channel and all. And seeing him, she gets shocked, realizing that he really is just a student. We now switch scenes to Shuhai City, Lone Fox Mountain. A bird there seems to have sensed something and decides to fly off. But suddenly, something flies past him at incredible speed, and it turns out to be Lu Sheng. He didn't know that his stellar impact technique could be applied on his body like this. Now his stellar impact has 4 times the power. Along with the technique he got in his dreams, his body technique prowess has also reached new heights. Now his speed is also 5 times greater than a rank 2 martial artist. And he calls this technique cloud chasing steps. And soon enough, he arrives at the peak of the mountain. He takes a breath, noting that it's how natural breathing should be used truly. And with every breath, he is able to absorb energy from the air. It replenishes his stamina and also activates his body's latent capacity. He is also able to feel his surroundings and feel the changes in nature's creations. And with his palm, he creates a pressure strong enough to part the clouds. And when he opens his eyes again, he had a breakthrough, his vitality increased, and his stellar impact became even more powerful. Now he can exert 6 times the power. It was an unexpected surprise for him. As he came here to gather materials for marrow-nourishing elixir, he never thought that he would have a breakthrough in cultivation. He has finished all of his tonics from before, and they have started to become less effective, so he is going to brew the marrow-nourishing tonic now. The medicinal value of his herb has not been discovered either. If not for that system, it would have been impossible for him to find this. He has also already ordered the rest of the herbs that he would need at the base of the mountain. And while going down, he also decides to test how quickly he can descend the mountain with his new cloud-chasing steps. Now at the base of the mountain, he meets up with the seller, asking if his herbs are ready for collection. The guy replies to not worry, as he has it already here. Lu Sheng counts the ingredients as the seller tells him that they all have been gathered fresh and are mature enough to be used. And so, Lu Sheng gets to the payment, stating that he would take 10 of each at their agreed price of $500, but the seller tells him to not be impatient, and changes the offer, that it's going to be 1,000 apiece instead of 500, and he would also need to buy all the medicinal herbs here. Lu Sheng asks, what does he mean by that? And the seller replies, it's exactly what he heard. Since now that he is in their city, he has to play by their rules. And soon enough, we see Lu Sheng getting surrounded, but he is not afraid, stating that he is trying to force a sale on him. They laugh and tells Lu Sheng to not try doing anything, as all of them are rank 1 martial artists. There is no cameras here either, so he cannot report to the police. And as they are trying to jump on him to attack, Lu Sheng suddenly puts his hand on the huge boulder beside him. and crushes it with his strength, seeing which they all are left completely stunned. Lu Xing then asks them a question. Given the situation, isn't it time for them to acknowledge defeat? He also turns the rock into dust in front of them, causing them all to kneel in front of him and apologize frantically. And since they are not going to continue, Lu Xing starts taking the ingredients, and the seller scaredly tells him to take it all for free. While going, he also gives them an advice that business should be based on honesty. They shouldn't cheat anyone, whether it's a young one or an old one. They thank him for the advice and promises to turn into new leaf, while Lu Xing thinks that he was going to pay them. But since they don't want it, there is nothing he can do, and now he decides to prepare for his training camp since he got all the ingredients. Meanwhile, the seller is still in shock, as he wonders if all the students these days are ridiculously strong like him, as he Lu Xing to be on the level of a rank 3 martial artist, which is too much. Now fast forward to the next day, Lu Xing arrives at the Dongning province Prodigy training camp. He notes that this is the location where training camp will be held, though it looks more like a military base to him. He also sees other people wearing their martial arts badges, as he realizes that he is probably supposed to wear them here. But his mom put his badge on a display, and he forgot to bring it along when he left the house. As he is going in, a guard stops him and questions, who is he and where is he going, and he replies that he is from Baiha City. Something came up so he got late. Hearing this, they start to make fun of him, as apparently Baiha City's representative already left, so they assume that Lu Xing was included at last minute. As he doesn't even have a badge, they also find it strange, since they don't get any representatives from Baiha City, yet there are 2 this year. The guard recognizes him as Lu Xing, the one chairman mentioned, and once again some NPC comments that he must have brought a lot of gifts for the chairman, which is why he was able to get here despite having no badge, while the guard tells them to shut up. He asks him to go in with people from Qingyuan City, and after he enters there will be an entrance ceremony. But looking at the batches going in, he wonders how is an entrance ceremony in batches, and notes it's not going to be something ordinary. And as they all walk inside, the gate behind them starts to close, surprising everyone. They all question the instructor while panicking, what is going on, and he tells them to be quiet and listen, and tells them that they have to exit the opposite side of the corridor on their own. If they succeed, they would have passed the entrance assessment. Others can pack their bags and go home. Everyone is quite confused and shocked about this sudden announcement, and the floor beneath them opens and they are all dropped down. Only a few of them manage to land safely on the ground, and everyone wonders, where are they and what is going on? And upon noting the corridor gate, Lu Xing uses his ability to map out the way to the exit. He notes that it's not an ordinary corridor, just as expected, and wonders, what are those dark shadows, and calls his psychic powers really incredible as he is able to see all these things. Now some douchebag comments, that he thought it would be something special, but all of this is boring to him. People behind tells Lin Xiaoyu, if he already knew there was trap, then he should have informed him, so they could have avoided this fall. But Xiaoyu comments that he shouldn't dare to call himself a martial artist if he cannot even adjust to his surroundings, and he shouldn't sully the reputation of their Qingyuan city either, since it gives him a bad name as well. He tries to argue more, but the girl stops him, saying that they all are from the same city, so they should work together, and the most important thing being finding a way out of this place. Xiaoyu agrees that they should be united, and since this is a Prodigy training camp, he is sure that the assessment won't be simple. But he looks towards Lu Xing and calls him an odd one among them, and asks him to go and scout the area for them first. The girl seems to be against the idea, but the guy agrees to make Lu Xing the scapegoat, and Lu Xing agrees as well. He pushes aside Xiaoyu, saying that he should step aside if he is not going, and Xiaoyu replies that he likes his initiative, and if he does his best, they might give him a hand. But Lu Xing replies, only cows and sheep form herds. A predator walks alone, which pisses Xiaoyu off. Xiaoyu states that he will kill him for daring to call him a sheep. And just then, we see a lot of balls seems to be rolling towards them, as he wonders, what the hell is this? And the balls rolls up to be mechanical robots, though Lu Xing isn't surprised to see them. Xiaoyu notes that even the weakest of mechanical puppets are of rank 1 martial artist, and there are so many of them here, which makes him question if the camp is trying to kill them. Xiaoyu seems quite anxious, and so is everyone behind him. Meanwhile, Lu Xing is watching them with curiosity as he heard that they are programmed to perform all sorts of high-level martial arts, and a top-grade one is on par with a rank 4 martial artist. But it costs a lot more to build a top-grade puppet than it is to raise a rank 4 martial artist. Xiaoyu again tries to make fun of Lu Xing, calling him a country bumpkin, since he doesn't know that those puppets automatically attack when they sense a living being near. The other one comments that Shung would probably become a retard by one of its punch, since he is not even a rank 1 martial artist, but the girl tells him to watch out. As we see the puppet attacking Shung, but he simply stands there, and we see the punch causing a lot shockwave and smoke screen. Everyone starts to laugh, thinking that Shung is done for. But as the smoke clears, they all see that he has managed to stop it, which shocks them. But Shung is quite unimpressed by its performance and easily destroys it by his bare hands. Everyone is really shocked seeing it, wondering if Shung is even a human. But Xiaoyu laughs, saying that Shung was fooling them, and believes that those puppets are nothing special and just some half-assed junk. Otherwise, he believes that it's not possible for Shung to destroy them. But others still don't believe in him, so he tries to show them, and goes on to try and attack one of them. And so, he jumps and kicks the head of one of the puppet, causing no real damage. The others start to believe that those puppets are really fake, and Xiaoyu stands all smug in front of it. But suddenly, the puppet lands an attack right on his face and sends him flying on the wall to the side, causing him to state that they are not rank 1 puppets, but actually rank 2. Due to this, the girl starts to wonder, what is Shung's rank that he is taking care of them all like this? As Shung notes that all he has to do is touch their core lightly to defeat them, but there are quite a few of them here. He finds it all really boring, as we see tons of destroyed puppets lies in his wake. Meanwhile, the instructor on the other side is freaking out, seeing their mechanical puppets are getting malfunctioned right as they bought them. He then notes that all of them are wrecked, and wonders just who in the kid has reached a rank where they can destroy a rank 2 puppet. Meanwhile, Shung arrives and assumes that the guard standing there is the gatekeeper, which makes even the guard confused. And without any warning, Shung attacks him with stellar impact, while telling him to not disappoint him. We now switch scenes and get a look at another one of our waifu. A guy then walks in, saying that today is another day full of satisfaction and happiness. And upon seeing Qingxue there, he comments that she is already here, but she replies and tells him to not use that name with her, Qin Xiaojun, and if he is so free, he should come review materials with her. And so, he corrects himself, and calls her Lieutenant Colonel Dong Qingxue and asks, how is the quality of this year's Prodigy camp? And she sighs in disappointment and replies that there are only 8 that meet their requirement, and all of them are martial artists whose gifts have awakened. Though, Xiaojun notes that all of these gifts are quite ordinary, and all of them are related to strength, and for the others ones, an agility type, a defense type, and a psychic type, which gets him excited. Qingxue says that she is the most outstanding of them all. Xiaolin, she is 18-year-old, and her psychic gift was awakened less than 2 years ago, and she is already on the verge of reaching rank 1 mentalist, and she is talented in martial arts as well, almost reaching rank 2. And so, Xiaojun comments that she is just like Qingxue, an absolute genius, but she tells him to cut it out and tells him that she is putting her as the primary target for training for this year. And as he is looking, he notes that others aren't bad either. And just then, he comes across something shocking. He spits out his drink in shock, wondering, what the hell is this, as both Qingxue and him look at the screen in shock. Meanwhile, at the assessment hall number 7, we see Xiaolin also taking care of the puppets. She also sensed something very dangerous in there, with an ability at least at rank 3, but seeing how it didn't came out to stop her, she assumed that it was not part of the assessment. Now as she reaches the exit, she sees many guards standing around with shields and stuff, looking worried. She wonders why are they all on high alert? What are they guarding against? Thinking that perhaps something is going on in there, she uses her ability to see through, and notes that 2 people are engaged in a fight, and both are humans, which is confusing since the assessment targets are supposed to be robots. She focuses her vision on Shung, wondering who is he, and suddenly she feels him glaring back at her with incredible intensity. And this thing completely terrifies her as she quickly gets back and shut the door again. She starts to tremble, wondering, what was that? The bolt that gripped her heart was incredibly terrifying. Soon enough, we see Qingxue and Xiaojun also comes out, as Xiaojun asks for the situation, and they replies that the cameras near the entrance have been destroyed, so they are not sure what is going on. They lost contact with the supervisor and so contacted Xiaojun. He asks them to give him information about everyone who went into passage 12, but Qingxue replies that it won't be necessary anymore. As we see the gate break opens and Shung walks out of it. They get a bit relieved knowing that it's just a student. But upon seeing him drag their supervisor like that, they again gets terrified. Noting that he is not from Qingyuan City, Qingxue asks him, Who is he? And he drops the supervisor and replies that he is Baiha City's Lu Shung. Xiaojun tells him that he got some nerve, putting aside the fact that recklessly destroyed those expensive puppets, but he even beat up the supervising instructor. And Lu Shung nervously replies that it's a misunderstanding. He thought that it was a part of the assignment, and he was really strong, so he didn't hold back. Suddenly, Qingxue starts to use her power on Lu Shung for some reason. And as it sweeps through him, he seems relatively unaffected by it. And after a bit, she stops. Perhaps she was testing something. So far we don't know. But regardless, she congratulates him on passing the assessment and tells him to go and get some rest. A member of the staff will lead him to the dorms. Xiaojun tells Qingxue that Lu Xing is really crazy, as he saw the recording of him destroying those puppets and they were like a toy in his hand. His vitality is only 15 while his combat power is 15,000, which he calls bullshit. And get to know that she apparently assessed him with her psychic powers just now, and she didn't sense anything, nor did he made any sort of reaction. Xiaojun asks, how does she plan on dealing with that monster, and she replies that she has not decided. However, the stats in his file are no longer accurate, so they plan to nurture him like a top priority like Xiaolin. And so, Xiaojun comments that this year's election is going to be very interesting. Meanwhile, on the way, Lu Sheng wonders, what was that psychic energy scan now? And notes that Instructor Qingxue's psychic power is 5 times stronger than hers. He retracted all of his psychic energy, so he doesn't know if she found anything. Now as his stomach roars, the staff tells him that it's mealtime. He can go to the canteen first for something to eat. He can take him to the dorms after, and he thanks him for that and asks if he can eat as much as he wants here. And the staff chuckles and replies, telling him to not worry. He can eat as much as he wants for his first meal. And we see Lu Sheng gulping food down like there is no tomorrow, while people watches in shock. And just then, Yang Yuan arrives and introduces herself, telling him that she is also a representative from Baiha City, and asks if he remembers meeting her at the assessment center. But Lu Sheng pulls back his food and tells her to get more herself, as it's unlimited food here, making her annoyed, as she mentally replies that she is not here for that, and he shouldn't be so protective over it, since he just said it's unlimited himself. Lu Sheng tells her that he remembers Chairman Xiao saying that Baiha City did not have any representative in years. And she replies that he might have misunderstood. Baiha City actually sends representatives every year. It's just that hardly anyone managed to pass the entrance assessment for many years. And even if they do manage to pass, they would ask to leave soon after because they didn't manage to score enough points. And after all the hard work, they end up becoming stepping stone for someone. So no one would like to put such thing in their resume. And Lu Xing then asks, what are those points she is talking about? And she replies that points are like currency here. If he wants to use training resources, he would need to spend points. Things like training instructors, equipments, getting tonics, and all that are acquired using points. The meat he is eating right now is also military ration. He can only get more using points. Until now, there are only 3 people in the entire training camp who have earned points. Lu Sheng is surprised to learn that and asks, how did they got their points? And she replies, they can only get points by passing tests or assessments. They gotten points since they passed the entrance assessment. First up, Chao Yang, a rank 2 gifted martial artist from Yanglin City. He has the gift of the stone skin. Next is Meng Jinha, a rank 2 gifted martial artist from Donggang City. He has a speed type gift. And last but not least, rarer than a gifted martial artist, there is a mentalist with a psychic gift. And it is said that her abilities and gift are the strongest in this year's training camp, the mentalist, Xiaolin. And while walking, Xiaolin again meets the gaze of Lu Xing, which causes her to get scared and panic. She almost loses her food tray in panic and quickly tries to leave as Lu Xing finally realizes who she is. Yang Yuan asks Lu Xing if he knows her, and he replies that they met in the passing. And he once again asks her about 3 people clearing the assignment, and she replies that it said there is a 4th person as well, but the rumors surrounding him are too far-fetched. Not only is he freakishly strong, but he also single-handedly destroyed grade 2 puppets. And he is also being called a demented maniac, who even beat the instructor supervisor to the point that he had to be taken to a hospital. He is a total rampaging madman, though she doesn't believe that someone like that exists here, but hearing this all causes Lu Sheng to spit his drink. But regardless, Yang Yuan thinks that the instructor was the real deal, and everyone here is truly talented, even Lu Sheng. The monster who shook the Baiha City is just another figure in the crowd here. But she tells him to not worry as she still believes in him, that with his abilities and talents, he might not be any weaker than them. And he thanks her for that, and behind her, we see some guards standing and asked for Lu Xing. And upon finding, they tell him that because he destroyed 18 mechanical puppets and put an instructor in the hospital, who is still unconscious. Everyone around also has similar reaction, with some dropping their chopsticks while some are left mouth opened. Everyone around also has similar reaction, with some dropping their chopsticks while some are left mouth opened. But Lu Xing agrees to go with them, but also asks if he can have another portion of good on the go, since he is still hungry. And they all let him to do so, and so he apologizes to Yang Yuan, saying that he has to go now, while she is too stunned to say anything. And as he leaves, everyone realizes that the rumors were actually true, and a monster like him really exists, with him being a representative of Bias City. And Yang Yuan is completely flabbergasted at herself for saying all that in front of Lu Shang. Now we see Lu Shang arriving at the command and control center and meets up with Qingxue, who tells him that he is really something else. He cleared half a year worth of their budget like that. Every one of those puppets is worth tens of millions, and not a single one of them can be repaired, all thanks to him. However, after some discussions, they decided to not take any action against him, since after all, he was doing what he is supposed to do in the assignment, so it's not his fault. Xiaojun also arrives with other 3 people who cleared the assignment, and we see all of them seems to be taking glances at each other, with Xiaolin being scared of Lu Xing still. And first things, Qingxue congratulates everyone on clearing the assignments, and they all did well. And in this training camp, the stronger they are, the more resources they will receive, and now, she would be giving them points and rewards for clearing their assignment. Once they have accumulated a certain amount of points, they would be stored in a points card. The Aoi Todo from Wish notices that he got a gold card which his teacher mentioned to him before. There are 100 points in it. And both the red hair and Xiaolin are also happy upon receiving the gold card, with Xiaolin noting that it's enough for her to get the high-level chief psychic mentalist instructor to give her one-on-one training. But when they all glances over to Lu Xing, they notices that his card is white instead of gold. Lu Xing never heard of a white card before, and wonder it's empty or something, and when he turns it around, there is a price listed there for everything. And among them, Lu Shang says that the only thing worth here is eating meat, which surprises them all. Xiaojun tells him to be grateful for what he have, as his card has 1,000 points. If it weren't for their chief instructor keeping the higher-ups at bay, he would have drowned in debt. Everyone is quite shocked upon learning that his card has 1,000 points. While Todo from Wish chuckles, saying that he thought this camp was only about one's abilities, he didn't think there would be special favors like this here, and calls it quite disappointing. The red-hair NPC also jumps in, commenting that he must have crazy connections to pull it off, while Xiaolin nervously says that they don't know what he pulled off during the assignment. The big-ass dude replies that he knows what he did. He spread rumors about himself and bribed the students and the instructors, thinking that supervising instructor are all at least rank 3 martial artists. Only a rank 4 artist would be able to beat them. Even if Lu Xing has the strongest physical type gift, it would still be impossible. And he doesn't even look like he has much vitality. And so, he tells Lu Xing to prove his worth right now, since this training camp is supposed to give the most resources to the strongest one. Xiaojun tries to go and stop them, but Qingxue stops him from doing so. Lu Xing sighs and asks if he is sure about this, and the Todo from Wish replies that he would like to see if he can even get past his skin. And with just a flick of his finger, Lu Xing sends him flying across the room, causing him to crash all the way into the other room. And everyone is shocked seeing that, with Lu Sheng thinking that they cannot tell him to pay for that, since he is the one who asked to hit him. Both Ming Jinhe and Xia Lin are shocked upon seeing what happened with Chao Yong, along with Qingxue and Xiaojun. And Lu Xing then asks if he can go now. And as he is leaving, Qingxue asks him, what is he planning for his training? If he has points, then she can instruct him. But he rejects her offer, saying that he has more important things to do, and Xiaojun is surprised and asks, what could be more important than receiving personal training from Chief Commanding Instructor? And he pauses, and everyone looks nervous and seems to be anticipating his answer. And so, he answers that he is going to sleep, which leaves them all dumbfounded, and Xiaojun bursts out laughing due to this. A bit later, and Qingxue seems to watching him on the screen, and Xiaojun chuckles knowing that he is really going to sleep, and Qingxue questions, what is he even doing? There are no resources in the dorm, and Xiaojun says that it's the first time he has met such an interesting gifted one, and tells her to let him do what he wants. And she tells Xiaojun that he doesn't understand. Lu Xing is like a top-grade grindstone, He can simulate rapid growth in others, and Xiaojun replies that he is afraid that Grindstone is stronger than all the blades out there. And so, Qingxue asks if he remembers their badge from back then. That person, Ding Peng, and Xiaojun replies, of course, just thinking about him makes his chest hurt. Back then, he overpowered everyone in the camp and trampled all of them under his feet. He fully deserved the title of the king. Qingxue agrees and says that people with physical type gifts have an enormous advantage over others in early stage. They can easily hit a combat power of tens of thousands and even defeat enemies above their rank. However, skill, speed, observation skills, judgment, experience, tactical strategy, one's ability is not just strength alone. In the process of growth and accumulating experience, people who rely only on the power of their physical gifts will fade eventually. And believes that it might be Lu Xing's future as well. Meanwhile, we see him again fighting in the dream world. As he blocks the punch of the zombie, it tries to attack him again, but this time, Lu Xing holds onto his arm. He then takes a metal pipe and pierces his thigh with it to prevent him from moving, and then uses stellar impact right on its head to finish it off. After defeating him, he notes that it was a rank 6 martial artist when he was still alive, which is on par with Chairman Xiao Yuhe of the Martial Artist Association, which is why it was so strong. If he hadn't used all of his psychic energy to block that blow just now, he could have been in trouble. Martial arts and combat experience, compared to improving his vitality, those are the real treasures to be gained in his dream world. Footwork, fist techniques, palm techniques, leg techniques, spear techniques, sword techniques, a human strength is limited. It's impossible for anyone to be talented in everything. But he is standing on the shoulders of countless people, multifaceted, and without any flaws or blind spots. This would be his martial arts path, the complete martial arts. There is also psychic energy to think of. If it weren't for that, he wouldn't have been able to take a single blow from that zombie just now. Though he finds it shame that his psychic energy is the most basic type, he can only use it against the zombie now. And so, he decides to step up his psychic energy training. He tries to focus on within, without any external distractions, engage in his inner mind and refine it. Suddenly, something happens and he starts screaming and the barrier breaks. And once he is back from his mindscape, he notes that he has advanced again. He now goes on to Ellie to check up on his bio, as he haven't looked at it in a long time, and asks her to retrieve his biography. And once again it has changed. He actually became a rank 7 martial master. And if this were in ancient times, it is like having power similar to a feudal lord. Even in his current world, it's of really high status. He also thinks that since his rank has increased, his evaluation permission must have increased as well. And so he asks Ellie to look up the advanced techniques of stellar body technique, natural breathing technique, and crystal visualization technique. And so we see him receiving the advanced version of all those techniques with his new permission, which is just like he thought. But in between them, he notices one other thing. And when he reaches for that scroll, it's called Divine Illumination of the King of Hell, and it's a complete martial arts technique on its own, which surprises Lu Xing. He finds the technique really incredible, and the reason that this wasn't under the combat skill selection is because it's an art specially designed for psychic mentalists. It includes techniques on how to use the psychic energy and battle tips, and most importantly, this is art completely different from other psychic arts. The essence of this art is to use the psychic energy to create another body from within the martial arts, in others, a second self, and the clone is so intricate that it duplicates the martial arts, muscle, cells, and even genes. All of that for the sole objective to strengthen oneself from all angles without leaving a single opening. The first level of this technique is to use the psychic energy to strengthen one's organs, and as a result, amplify one's vitality, which is exactly what he needs right now. The first level of this technique is to use the psychic energy to strengthen one's organs, and as a result, amplify one's vitality, which is exactly the thing he needs right now. He already have ways to amplify his power. But his base vitality is still unchanged. It's always been something that has kept him from growing. If he can break through it, he would be able to enhance all of his stats. He believes that he underestimated this martial arts knowledge that has been accumulated over 1,000 years. In this era, the art isn't even something that can be conceived, let alone created, and so he would remember the name, Duanifeng. An exceptional talent like him is in 1 in a million. He is probably in existence above all else, even among rank 11 powerhouses, and even with such extreme talent, the destruction of the humanity could not be prevented. And so, he still have a lot to do. The path ahead is still so big. With every minute and every second, he would have to give his all to become stronger. Now fast forward to a month later, and we see Xiaolin training her psychic powers. Tons of balls are launched towards her, and she slices them all using her psychic energy. Seeing this, Qingxue tells her that it's not bad. She is making rapid improvement. She can already control 3 star cones with ease. When she can control 6 of them, that would mean that she has entered the realm of a rank 1 mentalist. And Xiaolin thanks the commander, saying that it's all thanks to her tutelage, and she replies that it's also due to her effort and talent. However, she has noticed that there seems to be a huge weakness in her mental fortitude, and asks if someone left her with some kind of mental trauma before, and she remembers Lu Shang's gaze from the entrance assessment, and agrees with Qingxue, asking if there is any way to resolve this, and she replies that it's quite simple. She should find the person who caused her this trauma and either defeat them or kill them. Then her mental trauma would go away naturally. But Xiaolin gets terrified of that thought, and Qingxue is surprised to see her like that, and says that it shouldn't be too difficult for her, since she in the midst of rapid growth in terms of her abilities. And so, Xiaolin remembers hearing that Lu Shang has been in a wasted state all this while, and if his abilities have stagnated during this time, then perhaps she can actually do this. Xiaojun asks if it's over and how did it go, and she replies she is pretty talented, but her character is a little soft, and Xiaojun tells her that Qingxue thinks that everyone is like her, but besides, Xiaojun believes that her character is at least better than the one he is teaching. And that is Ming Jinghe, as she tells Xiaojun that they taught them what they could. There is just 1 or 2 months left, so it would be over soon. Qingxue then asks if he is still that way, and Xiaojun replies, it's the same old. Every time the staff delivers the meal, he is just sleeping, and so he assumes that Lu Xing is a lost cause. He then asks Qingxue if she remembers what she said when she was lecturing the students. If they wish, they can just sleep their days away, and no one would interfere, and she sighs, saying that she shouldn't have said that. And so Xiaojun asks if she is still going to use him as a grindstone, and she replies, not a chance, believing that he is not even fit to be a stepping stone, and says to leave him be, and train Jinghe well. Otherwise, Xiaolin might beat him during the closed camp assessment, but he makes fun of her, saying that they are not afraid of them too. We now switch scenes to Yang Yuan, who seems to be on the cleaning duty. Suddenly, a girl arrives asking if she should help him with this, and Yuan thanks her for this. The pink-haired girl sighs, saying that she envy those who received 100 points, as it's enough expenditure for 2 months, while people like them have to scrimp and save and hold in their hunger. She then asks Yang Yuan about Lu Shang, asking, what has he been doing all this time, since she seemed pretty close to him, and she replies that she don't know. And the girl replies that she knew she would say that. Lu Xing made such an impact when he first came in, making everyone cower with his aura, but in the end, it was all over for him the next day. And he probably shut himself up in his ROM all the time, and everyone has probably already caught up with him, and asks Yang Yuan if he is scared or something. Or perhaps realized the advantages of his super strength will diminish, and decided to hide away to enhance the mystery around himself. But Yang Yuan disagrees, believing that Lu Xing isn't like that. She tells the girl to go and get some rest, and suddenly someone comes shouting that Chao Yong is about to take on quadruple gravitational force. Hearing which, everyone gets hyped up and find it an insane feat to attempt, and Yang Yuan comments that she almost fainted when she tried using double gravitational force herself. The pink-haired girl pulls Yang Yuan, telling him to come with her to take a look, while Yang Yuan thinks, just where on earth is Lu Shang? Meanwhile, we switch scenes to Lu Shang, who seems to be finally out of his room. Now we switch scenes to Chao Yong, who is training under 3 times the gravitational force, though he seems to be struggling a lot under it. Someone is standing outside and watching him, noting that it's almost 4 minutes that he has been in there, almost 30 seconds more than the last time. And soon enough, Chao Yong terminates it and comes outside, with people cheering him on, with one of them calling him amazing, as he could only last 10 minutes under twice the gravitational force, with some other being quite impressed by his performance. He starts to act smug, saying that it felt quite good, and thinks that people are making a big fuss over such a little thing. And so, if he were to quadruple gravitational force, they would go crazy, wouldn't they? One of the NPC comes to him to suck up to him, saying that it looks like he would be taking on quadruple gravitational force very soon, and after he becomes a rank 3 martial artist, there will be no one in this training camp who will be a match for him. Suddenly, he asks, how is he doing, and the guy realizes that he means Lu Xing, and tells him that he is still the same, Whenever someone goes to deliver his meals, they always find him sleeping on his bed, and in fact, he seems to be having wild dreams. Chaoyang lets out a confident humph and calls Lu Xing arrogant, stating that even if he was no match for him back then, no matter how slow a turtle is, it would still be able to catch up to a sleeping rabbit. Moreover, he has been sleeping for more than a month now, which is a waste of his 1,000 points, and believes that now he must be his match. But suddenly, Lu Xing arrives, saying "excuse me" to Chaoyang and passes him so quickly that he doesn't even notice. But he turns back quickly and shouts his name in shock, as Lu Xing comments if this is the gravitational room, and calls it quite good. Chaoyang comments that he is finally out, and asks, did he suddenly think about coming to train in the gravitational force training room after sleeping in for a month? But he completely ignores Chaoyang and thinks that he didn't expect it himself to spend so much points on the food, and so he presses the button to start with 3 hours at first, and with twice the gravitational force. He comments if it has been more than a month since he last tested himself, and he is excited to see how much he has grown, hearing which, Chaoyang replies that he was just sleeping all day in his room, yet he is expecting to have grown, and calls it a bad joke. And the countdown to the power activates, as Chaoyang asks if he is not even going to do warm-up before going in. And we see people are gathered outside, as it's announced that Lu Xing is using gravitational force level 2. Chaoyang comments that the gravitational training room is no joke. If one doesn't do warm-up before going, the sudden external pressure can render you motionless and easily cause your organs to burst open. Either ways, Chaoyang believes that Lu Xing is too full of himself, or that he don't know about this, but he is going to die in there regardless. Everyone watches him through the glass, as they wonder, the gravitational system should have already activated, yet why is there not a slightest bit of reaction from Lu Xing? And just then, Lu Xing starts moving, as the room starts trembling, and both Chaoyang and his sucker stands there speechless. Others who were wandering around that area also notices Lu Xing in there, and quickly hurries up to watch him, as we see him performing martial arts under twice the gravitational force. And looking at him, everyone is really impressed that he is actually able to move so forcefully under such gravitational pressure, and finds it unreal, and wonders, what is going on? Meanwhile, Lu Xing inside seems quite comfortable, calls it quite novel for him. He then presses a button inside there, and Chaoyang wonders if he is stopping because he cannot endure it any longer. But we see that it's actually not the terminate button, and suddenly, a loud sound surrounds the place, as everyone covers their ears. They all wonder what is going on, and Chaoyang looks shocked, as he notes that Lu Xing is actually on quadruple gravitational force now. And this time, Lu Xing actually seems to be feeling something, as he thinks, so this is what increased gravitational force feels like, and decides to give this one a go. Lu Xing kneels on the ground, and seeing which, the sucker starts laughing, and as he is passing on his comment, he starts to notice his posture, and hesitantly comments that he cannot hold out anymore, while Chaoyang is absolutely shocked. Lu Xing then seems to have put 2 of his fingers on the ground, and we see Xia Lin passing by the gravitational room after finishing up her training. And as she looks over there, she notices a lot of people are gathered there, and wonders the reason for it. Everyone is looking completely shocked with sweats rolling down their faces, as Xia Lin asks them, what are they looking at? And as she looks over as well, we see Lu Xing is doing 2 fingers handstand in quadruple gravitational force, which makes Xia Lin shocked. She is completely confused and utterly speechless. Meanwhile, Chaoyang is having a mental breakdown over this, as he repeatedly asks himself, why is he so strong? As he was supposed to be sleeping for 2 whole months, and by now, he should have surpassed him already. And as he is doing the handstand, Lu Xing thinks that quadruple gravitational force is quite alright, and thinks that it's about enough right now. He then gets back up and once again presses the button on the machine. As everyone notes that this time, he is going for 5 times the gravitational force, and they all quickly call others over to see the absolute craziness that is going on. And we see Lu Xing starting to utilize his natural breathing technique with breathing of the earth mode. And soon enough, other students also comes running towards the gravitational room, as they all are panicking, and our NPC from the entrance assessment is here as well, as they comment that man, he is back. Yang Yuan is also there, and we see a huge crowd standing outside the gravitational room, all looking at Lu Xing, saying that it's really him, as Chaoyang is sweating at Lu Xing's antics. In 5 times gravitational force, Lu Xing starts jumping, and seems to be putting in much effort into it either. Thinking that 5 times gravitational force is just right for him to train with right now, he should be able to perform the movements of stellar body refining techniques. And it may get difficult for him to move around if he increases the intensity of gravity any further. But he clenches his fist, stating that it's still far from enough, and that he needs greater pressure, a pressure that would push him to his limits. People outside are completely freaking out as they chuckle nervously, wondering, what is he doing now, and if he is finally going to shut down the mechanism because he cannot do it anymore. And other comment, that 5 times gravitational force is already huge. It's already very impressive that he lasted that long in it, as he himself wouldn't even last a second. But Lu Sheng instead increases the pressure further, as everyone once again gets completely shocked, with their eyes coming out of their socket to express their disbelief in what they are seeing right now. We now switch scenes to Xiao Jun and Qing Xue, with Qing Xue noting that there were another 2 today. It's not even been that long and so many students have already quit the training camp. Xiao Jun hands her over a drink, stating that all those kids are spoiled and pampered. After having suffered here, it's completely normal that they are not willing to stay around any longer. Qing Xue questions if they cannot even take this bit of difficulty and hardship. When they face real battle with monsters in future, would they be able to last? And Xiao Jun tells her that she takes things too seriously. Actually, the caliber of this batch of trainees is pretty good. He reckoned that 80% of them will be able to last till the end. He then presses a button to tell her to look at the gravitational room in the movement studio. People are working hard to set new records, but upon seeing it, he gets shocked knowing that someone has actually broken gravitational room's record. Qing Xue asks if it's Chao Yang, as she remembers he was on the brink of moving on to quadruple gravitational force, and Xiao Jun chuckles nervously while stating that it's not him. It's someone who she is never going to guess in a million years, Lu Sheng. And we switch back to him and see that he is kneeling on the ground and is now on 8 times the gravitational force and is finally struggling. Qing Xue, in shock, breaks the glass in her hand, confirming once again if he just said that it's Lu Sheng. Xiao Jun sweats while questioning just what rank he is right now, that kid, and Qing Xue replies that she don't know that, but she states that they have finally found the one they have been looking for. Lu Sheng starts panting hard and notes that 8 times gravitational force is still too much for him at his current vitality, and he is getting near his limits now. But then, he closes his eyes and decides to use a new technique for this. And we see him using the psychic energy and gathers it around his organs and enhances all of them at once, and his body starts to get stronger. And with that, he is finally able to get up from the ground, and pants while noting that he has only constructed the heart, but his vitality has increased by about 10%, and it is the power of his new technique, the divine illumination of the King of Hell. He then smirks and clenches his fist, and once again seems to be planning something as he thinks that he will now see where his true limits are now. Everyone is shocked once again, and in worry and anticipating, they all wonder, what is he going to do next, as he is already on 8 times the gravitational force, so he cannot be thinking about increasing it. Suddenly, the glass to the gravitational room breaks, and everyone gets on their knees, wondering what the hell is going on, as even though they are outside of the gravitational room, the force is still strong that it's affecting them as well. Xiaoyan tries his hardest to look up, asking, just what the hell did he do, as we see he is at 10 times the gravitational force now. And now, Lu Sheng is almost completely laying flat on the ground from the immense pressure of the gravity, and the ground beneath him starts to completely break apart as well. And it is so intense that every single bone in his body is crying out loud. His body feels like it's going to coagulate. It's taking him all of his energy just to remain conscious, let alone move an inch, and with this, he finally realizes the power of 10 times the gravitational force. Noting that it's something completely out of his bounds right now, but his eyes glow with determination as he states that this is exactly what he wants. He asks himself, what kind of person does it take to change the future and overturn this doomed ending of the world? Is it someone who learned high-ranking martial arts, someone with an incredible talent, or a person who has unlimited resources? But he answers it himself, that it's someone who can surpass their limits, as Lu Sheng finally stands up in 10 times the gravity, while everyone is kneeling down, almost as if they are kneeling against him and his talents. Yang Yuan barely raises up her head, stating that it's him, as we see Lu Sheng now stands up completely straight in it, with Yang Yuan continuing, that Lu Sheng is back. And finally, Lu Sheng stops the training and comes out of the gravitational room, with everyone standing in awe of him. Our boy also got some girls in return for this, as one of them offers him a towel while blushing. And he takes her up on the offer and thanks her, causing her to blush happily. And he starts to leave afterwards, thinking that if he has known that he would finish all that in such a short time, then he wouldn't have spent 3 hours worth of points, which is a big waste. He also gets a reward for setting up a new record and receives points for it, with his total points now being at 4335. Everyone is completely shocked by that, noting that his points are in the thousands, as even all of their points combined wouldn't even amount to half of his. And Lu Sheng notes that this much should be enough for him to have his fill, and as he is walking, people are starting to give him way as he moves on to his next target. We see everyone is left standing in complete daze as he walks in between them, and they all decide to follow him to see where is he going next, with Yang Yuan noting his insane domineering presence, and the fact that he is head and shoulders above others. And that figure of his, it's like hundreds of beasts are scampering after him, while he is a ferocious tiger out on a walk. The pink-haired girl then remembers that Lu Xing has a strength-type talent, and yet he actually broke the record of Chao Yang, who has defense-type talent, and wonders that perhaps his vitality has already reached rank 4. And suddenly, Yang Yuan realizes something. Even though he has a strength-type talent, the place he is headed to right now is the Footwork and Movement Studio. We now switch scenes to Ming Jinghe, who is also in the Footwork and Movement Studio and currently training and dodging lasers. But as one of the lasers grazes him, the training ends, and he has completed level 287%, and he has surpassed 52% of the trainees in terms of his footwork and movement skills. He acts overconfident and smug about his results, thinking that the results of Footwork and Movement Studio are constantly being updated to the Martial Alliance main framework, so he can see his world ranking anytime. He has already surpassed half of this whole world, which has to be a few billions. He starts walking outside, saying that it's expected humans are not equal, having obtained a speed-type talent, and the private instructor of Qin, the distance between him and the others is now beyond measure, or so he believes. And as for others, just watching him train should be enough with extraordinary benefits, but as he comes outside, there is not a single person who is watching him. His little ass wonders, what is going and why is everyone over there? Even Instructor Qing Xue and Xiao Jun are there, and what are they looking at? Perhaps an instructor demonstration, he wonders. He pulls one of the audience and asks, what is going on? And the guy tells him that it's Lu Sheng, of course. Ming Jinghe tries to act over smart, saying that they cannot possibly think that Sleepyhead can break his record. But Jinghe gets roasted by an NPC, who asks him, who the hell is he? Jinghe then looks up in front, and is utterly shocked, noting that every single laser in Lu Xing's training is at full power right now. Meanwhile, Lu Xing thinks that he just have to avoid the laser beams in this training, and there is no way to predict where the lasers would be fired from, which is one of the difficulties of this training. However, he believes that it's nothing to him, and as all the lasers fire at him, he is able to dodge all of them quite casually without much effort. Jinghe is having a mental breakdown outside seeing this, while others question, how is this even possible? There are thousands of lasers launching in the training studio, and there is no way to tell what is going to happen next, that too with such kind of intensity and volume. In shock, he asks the NPC if he is saying that it's Lu Sheng's first time in the Footwork and Movement Studio, and he replies, it is, and all of them followed him here. And that before this, he was at the Gravitational training room and broke the historical record there with 10 times the gravitational force. Jinghe drops on the ground in defeat, questioning, didn't Lu Xing had a strength-type talent? Wasn't he sleeping for a whole month? So how can the gap between them be so tremendous? Qing Xue is also in disbelief and wonders if it's really his first time in the Footwork and Movement Studio, but even if one attempted it hundreds of times, there is no way to achieve that level of ease. And his movements, or rather than reactionary, it's more like Foresight. As we see that Lu Xing is indeed moving before the laser even hits him. And this thing confirms her doubt, as she once again thinks, could Lu Xing be what she thinks he is? And as Lu Sheng continues with his training and dodging, Qing Xue seems to be using her power to try and do something. But Xiaojun asks her, what is she doing? And she quickly pulls back, stating that it's nothing. She finds it quite strange, as last time she tested him, there was no trace of psychic energy in him, yet she again had the urge to test it, and calls herself silly for this. Meanwhile, Lu Xing thinks that this training program is really good. He can sense his movements getting faster. And he finally finishes up the level 2 of the Footwork and Movement training, and everyone is quite surprised seeing it, and calls his level 2 training quite easy, and it seemed different to them from the level 2 training they've been doing. And Xiaojun tells them that it only seemed that way because Lu Sheng had such a relaxed appearance. His physical control is perfect. And Qingxue expresses her interest in seeing how far Lu Sheng can go, and Xiaojun agrees with her, saying that it's the first time they are on the same page. And so, Lu Sheng starts up with the level 3 of this training, and this time, a bunch of balls are thrown at him. Everyone is shocked seeing it, and calls it way too difficult to pass. But Lu Sheng being him, he is once again able to keep up with this training and dodge the balls. Though, he notes that it's starting to get tough this time. The laser beams are even positioned in a way to prevent him from dodging, and so, he also decides to put in some effort this time. And once again, with some effort, he is able to dodge both the lasers and the balls. Xiaojun is incredibly shocked seeing it, as he comments that he is at inner discernment stage and wonders if he just had a breakthrough here, even among the rank 4 and 5 veterans who have been to the battlefield. There are very few who manage to get their footwork and movement to that stage. He himself got it when he was 22. And Qingxue comments that it was 25 for her, and Xiaojun gets annoyed and replies, "It is different for a martial artist with a speed type. He was born to do that. Yet that kid is doing it at only 18 years of age." Now one of the lasers gets too close to Lu Sheng, and he is finally noticing that just relying on his psychic vision won't be enough. And Xiaojun notes as well that Lu Sheng is not looking very relaxed anymore. And as the lasers surround him, he switches his breathing style to breathe of the wind and blazes past by the lasers. And people outside are unable to even see him, with Xiaojun commenting that he is so fast that they cannot even see him now, which is why it seems like that he disappeared. And with this, he finally completes the level 3 as well, and Xiaojun comments that it's coming of a new generation, and he really showed all of them today. First 10 times gravitational force, and now level 3 at the movement and footwork studio, and since he seems exhausted, Xiaojun asks Qingxue to let's head back. But Qingxue replies that it seems like Lu Sheng would continue, which surprises him as he turns back. Xiaojun finds it unbelievable that he is attempting a level 4. It's something that even he just started himself. And as soon as he starts the training, some devices appear to completely surround him with laser, but Lu Sheng dodges and looks a bit worried this time. Everyone is once again in disbelief and wonders if it's even possible to dodge something like that. And as Xiaojun recognizes that Lu Sheng has finally reached this stage and comments, "Let's see how he can handle it." Lu Sheng notes that he is almost at the limit of what he can do with speed buff from the breath of the wind. And so, he uses Divine Illumination King of Hell this time. He spreads over both of his hands and creates a sort of black sphere around himself. And the time almost stops, with Lu Sheng noting that it feels like the time has dragged out, and if he remembers correctly, the proper term for this as coined by the psychic mentalist would be temporal sense. And due to this he gets passed by the lasers easily, noting that it's the embodiment of one's psychic energy attaining metamorphosis, and this kind of metamorphosis can only happen to psychic mentalist who has reached rank 3. So it means that he is now officially in the realm of a rank 3 psychic mentalist. Qingxue seems to have noticed it as well, as the glass of the training room starts to break. And she smiles knowing and stating, "So you are actually really a psychic mentalist, Lu Sheng." Suddenly, Qingxue brings out her psychic power, and Xiaojun calls her insane for doing that. She states that she wants to test him more, and sends her psychic energy into the training room. While Lu Sheng is in the middle of the test, he notices her psychic energy coming for him, and smirks. And he uses his own energy to simply push away her psychic energy. This causes quite a bit of pain to her, as she almost drops down due to it. This causes her say that Lu Sheng is also a psychic mentalist, and his psychic power is no less than her, once again shocking Xiaojun. Meanwhile, Lu Sheng thinks that they can look but cannot touch. But he has also reached his limit. Activating temporal sense for the first time drained quite a bit of his psychic energy, and someone also interfered in between. He is halfway done through level 4, and used all of his abilities, and this is as far as his vitality can go as well, so he simply decides to end the training here. And we see that his score has surpassed 97% of the martial artist in terms of footwork and movement skill. Everyone goes crazy over his result, questioning if he is really just a student, as he has already surpassed a few billion people. Jingya shatters, saying that he only surpassed 52% of the people, yet he is whole 46% higher than him despite being a strength-type martial artist. Meanwhile, Lu Sheng thinks that he needs to get stronger, since 3% of people are still ahead of him, which means a few millions at least. Qingxue congratulates him for breaking the record of Gravity Room and also making a new record for this training base's Footwork studio, and asks, where is he going next, the combat training studio or the psychic training room? And he replies, neither, because it's mealtime for him, so he is going to cafeteria, leaving them dumbfounded. Now fast forward to 3 hours later, they ask Lu Sheng to come at the command center. They apparently called him for some simple assessment and also to discuss something after that. Qingxue asks him if he gotten his vitality tested, as every dorm room is equipped with a vitality assessment needle, and he replies he hasn't, as they couldn't pierce his skin. Xiaojun tells Qingxue that it's like he told her, he has definitely advanced to rank 3, since without that level of toughness, it would have been impossible to break the G-Force room record, and asks her to take out the gold blood collection needle, which she does, and it's apparently used for rank 5 martial artist, so it should be good enough for him, Qingxue says. And so she begins to test his vitality by poking the needle on his finger, and it comes out as 24, which is shocking to both of them, with Xiaojun saying that it's been a decade since he last saw such a young rank 3 martial artist. And next up is Combat Power Index, for which Lu Sheng decides to use his full power to see how far he can go. And so, he hits the dummy as hard as he can using his strongest technique. And his power index is 271,920, shocking Xiaojun, since a rank 3 martial artist is reaching combat power of rank 5, and calls Lu Sheng a complete monster for such feat. He tells Lu Sheng that it's enough, and graduates him from the training camp, telling him to whatever he wants, and to submit a report when he goes back so the Martial Association can update his rank. But Qingxue gets up and tells him to wait, as she has one more test for him. She takes out an energy crystal. It has extremely high psychic energy absorption, and so it's used to now assess the psychic power of Psychic Mentalist. All he needs to do is to touch it with his hand and infuse it with his psychic energy. And upon test, Xiaojun notes that her power has increased again, causing her to reply that she don't laze around all day like him, though he tells her to insult him but not his lifestyle. And as Lu Sheng begins his test, Xiaojun tells her that he would have believed her if she said that Lu Sheng has half of her power, but he cannot believe for a second when she said that his power is equal to her. But she tells him to shut up and not disturb during the test. And we see the energy crystal shining brightly in a golden light, shocking Qingxue, as she shouts, how is this possible? We see Lu Sheng's psychic power is 113, along with the quality being 20. It leaves Qingxue astonished, as the quality alone is 5 times greater than her. It's extremely difficult to raise the psychic quality by even 1 point. It's like folding a towel infinitely, until it becomes coin-sized. Yet it's greater. It leaves Qingxue astonished. She only managed to raise her by 1 point after 2 years of hard work, and Lu Sheng is only 18-year-old, which she finds absurd. Even the word genius is no longer enough to describe him. And Xiaojun speaks up in return, calling him incredible, super incredible, insanely super incredible, simply God-like incredible. Though he does receive a hit from Qingxue for this. She asks Lu Sheng if he has a teacher, or has he learned some psychic cultivation technique before? And he affirms, stating that his teacher taught him a unique psychic cultivation art, as well as other methods to use his energy. She sighs, thinking that's more like it, since she wouldn't have been able to accept it if he reached this level alone. But she still tells him that it just proves how strong his talent is, and asks that he must have awakened it not too long ago, isn't it? And he replies that it has been less than 3 months, once again leaving them shocked. This time, they simply sigh, with Qingxue saying that even if they were to give it another 10 years, it is highly unlikely that a monster like him would appear in Psychic Mentalist Association. And Lu Sheng asks if there is association for them as well, and she replies that it has completely different system from the Martial Association because people with psychic gifts are rare. Despite the large population of their country, only 1% of them have this gift, and she assumes that his teacher kept it from him on purpose, so he can focus on his training, since the more a person knows, the more distraction it would be, and it would result in lose of psychic energy quality. But regardless, she still hopes for him to join the association, since they can provide him with resources, and she also gives him her personal token, with which they will treat him accordingly. He tells her that he actually never met his teacher. He only imparts his teaching in mysterious ways to him. Qingxue replies that he must be an incredible person, while thinking that usually if one finds someone with such incredible talent, they keep them to themselves, yet his teacher allows him to act freely, not even revealing himself to Lu Sheng. Only someone with great wisdom would act in this manner, and she believes there is no genius who is born out of no rhyme or reason in this world. Lu Sheng notes that it's going to be difficult to explain things with his gift as an excuse, which is why he admitted that he got a teacher. He comes from 10,000 years in future and is a rank 11 martial artist, do anything. Xiaoju speaks up and apologizes for interrupting their good chat, and speaks up about the matter they wanted to discuss with him. Firstly, they give him a card with 5 million in it. Even though the training camp has not ended, he believes Lu Sheng is number 1, and it's additional reward for his outstanding performance. Qing Shue tells him to not be disappointed by the reward, since it's the max they could apply for. The Eastern military has a tight budget, and most of the budget is spent on daily meals for the trainees. And he also famous for having a huge appetite in their camp, with the amount of food him eating is 7 to 8 million, shocking Lu Sheng, as he realizes that food he ate was really expensive. Qing Shue tells him that while this reward isn't enough, it still shows him the sincerity of the Eastern military district, and that is the second thing that they wanted to talk to him about. And he asks if the Eastern military district trying to recruit him, and Xiaojun affirms, as it's exactly the case. Qing Shue tells him that he must be aware that a prodigy like is bound to go the battlefield in future one way or another, since a true martial sage cannot be born in the comforts of safety. Xiaojun tells him that the military isn't giving so much support for nothing. They hope when the time comes for him to choose the department, they want him to consider them as the top contender. And there is also another advantage in the Eastern military district. Their female soldiers can be said to be the top beauties of the country, their looks and figures, and they got big boobs as well, though before he says anything further, he gets shot in the face by Qing Shue. She then tells Lu Sheng one last thing. They have decided to select him as the representative of the Dongning Prodigy training camp to participate in this year's Morning Star selection, which surprises Lu Sheng. She explains that every year, all the provinces in the East would hold a genius training camp, and the aim is to select one in a million who has the potential to become a Morning Star. And she asks if he knows what being Morning Star means, and he affirms, saying that it's a martial master. Xiaojun speaks up, stating that it means he will be a master in training, and only one will be selected from the entire Eastern District to become such a person. And before Xiaojun finishes his explanation to convince Lu Sheng to go, he already decides that he is going to enter it, thinking that some things cannot be avoided since he is living in this era, and now that he is trying to alter mankind's course on his own, he needs to do his utmost to turn the tide and become an unstoppable force. Xiaojun also tells him that both him and Qing Shue has full faith in his abilities, and if not him, he cannot think of anyone else who can represent them. And the reward will also be given directly by the Eastern Military District, so it would be way bigger than what he can get here, with Lu Sheng noting that he has to showcase his full potential to get more resources. Qing Shue tells him that there is few months left till it start, as it would only begin once all of the training camp of various provinces has ended, so she will inform him once it does, and it won't interfere with his college entrance exam. Xiaojun says that it won't matter with his abilities, since all of the colleges will be begging to take him and seeing them, and Lu Sheng asks if he still has to stay in the training camp, and Xiaojun replies that it's up to him, he can do whatever he wants, like he told him before. Lu Sheng thinks for a bit and decides to stay for a bit more, with Xiaojun saying that he must be staying for the food. Qing Shue smiles, saying that she didn't thought there will be a day when she would be envious of someone else's talents, and Xiaojun agrees, saying that he is different from them. He is destined to be extraordinary. They can even say that Lu Sheng will definitely cause earth-shattering changes to this era. Fast forward and Lu Sheng is back at the Baihe City Martial Arts Association. He looks around in the building and tries to remember Chairman Zhao's office. We hear some shouting from the room, while Zhao's assistant notes that Lu Sheng is here. He tries to point it out, but she tells him to let's go inside first. And inside there, as the assistant informs them that Lu Sheng is here, an old guy gets up while being intrigued. He asks Chairman Zhao if he is the genius he has been talking about, and he does finds Lu Sheng young and promising. But regardless, he does tells Chairman Zhao to not get upset, stating that not everyone is as outstanding as his precious granddaughter. Because there are tons of people who are weaker than Xiaolin, Lu Sheng being another one makes no difference. It really pisses off Chairman Zhao, as he asks Lu Sheng why did he came back when the training camp is still going on. And he replies that it's nothing major, but the training camp's chief instructor Dong Qingxue asked him to deliver this to Commander Zhao. It's for his vetting and approval. The old guy is quite surprised to hear that someone from the Dong family sent this, and the fact she wants a document to be vetted and approved by a chairman of such minor city. And so, he assumes and asks if Lu Sheng did some kind of mistake and needs Commander Xiao to take responsibility for it. But regardless, Commander Xiao snatches it from Lu Sheng's hand and tears the envelope in anger. But upon reading its contents, he is left completely shocked. It's apparently a record of Lu Sheng's assessment results. The old guy tries to console Chairman Xiao, assuming that it's something bad. But Commander Xiao ignores and asks Lu Sheng in shock, when did he advance to become a level 3 martial artist? And he replies, about a month ago, and Dong Qingxue personally did the assessment test for him, as she told him that military has the right to ask his abilities of martial artist, and all he need now is his approval. Chairman Xiao gets really elated and approves it quickly, but the old guy snatches the document from his hand, not believing it to be real. And upon seeing that he is a rank 3 martial artist with a combat power of over 200,000, he is left shocked and asks if it's forged or something. But Chairman Xiao takes it back, stating if he doesn't see the seal of Eastern military on this document. But the old guy still doesn't believe it that someone who was eliminated before the training camp finished could have a combat power of over 200,000. And Lu Sheng sighs and replies that he never said he was eliminated from the camp. He was the one who came up with that conclusion. And Dong Qingxue also asked to give her a call, since she was afraid that he might doubt the authenticity of this document. But Chairman Xiao doesn't doubt it, and teases Xia, asking if he looks like a person who is always full of suspicion. However, he still decides to make the call, since Dong Qingxue is the genius of Eastern Military District, so it would be nice for him to introduce himself to her. And when the call connects, she greets Lu Sheng, saying that he made it back, and Chairman Xiao also introduces himself to her. Seeing her, Xia seems to have gotten anxious, and hearing his voice, Xia Lin also comes on screen asking, why is he on call with Instructor Dong? But Qingxue scolds her for being distracted and not reaching the target. But regardless, Chairman Xiao pushes Xia away, and tells Instructor Dong that he would get the documents ready which she asked Lu Sheng to deliver. And she replies to not let it hold up what is going to take place in a month's time, since Lu Sheng is going to represent their district at the Eastern District Morningstar selection, as he is the strongest prodigy in this year's training camp, and there is no need for him to continue participating in the camp. Hearing which, leaves both Chairman Xiao and Xia shocked. And Xia also realizes that the monster her granddaughter was talking about on call was none other than Lu Sheng, while Qingxue scolds her in the background for not being able to keep with the training while she whines on not being able to do it. And as Chairman Xiao is about to hang up the call, saying that he won't like to hold up any for her, she tells him to hold on, since she still have some things to talk about to Lu Sheng. She tells him that she has gotten him the materials that he asked for Psychic Mentalist weapon. She will make the itemized list and send him the price, and also tells him to hurry up with Psychic Mentalist assessment, and hangs up after saying all this. Chairman Xiao, in utter shock, asks Lu Sheng what was Instructor Dong talking about, and he reveals that he was assessed to have a psychic type gift there, and so she wrote a personal recommendation for him to do the psychic assessment test, causing Chairman Xiao to get elated as he pats him on the back. Meanwhile, Xia is left in complete disbelief due to all this. We see Chairman Xiao is all the way at the entrance to drop off Lu Sheng, even offering to get him dropped wherever he wants, and various other stuff. And Lu Sheng leaves and thinks that power indeed reigns supreme in martial world due to Chairman Zhao's behavior towards him right now. In the taxi, the driver comments if he is related to Chairman Xiao, since he was acting really friendly towards him. And he replies that he is not, he is just very friendly, while thinking that even the driver can tell that Chairman Xiao is in good spirit, as he finally got something to be proud of. Suddenly, the driver breaks in panic as a sign has fallen in front of the taxi. Lu Sheng gets out and notices that it's the sign of Hongchuan Martial Academy and wonders what happened here. We switch scenes to the Hongchuan Martial Academy, where Lin Taizan is here to challenge their members. N.I. Shuang calls him shameless, as despite being a level 4 martial artist, he still came to challenge her father despite him having internal injuries. Hongchuan says that he has already promised to not recruit new students for a year now. What more does he want? But Taizan doesn't care, believing that as long as Hongchuan has hung up his board, he should be prepared for someone to come and smash it to bits. Hongchuan stands up, agreeing with it, stating that since they have their board up, they should also have the ability to keep it up there. And he get ready to fight, believing that he established his career with these fists 20 years ago. He was able to do it back then, and will be able to do it now as well. But he coughs hard and his body starts to tremble, and N.I. Shuang gets worried for him, but he assures her that he is fine. Taizhan chuckles and laughs at Hongchuan's state, calling it his own doing, and he also doesn't believe that the 18-year-old martial artist can be groomed by the likes of him. And Shuang argues that she already told him that Lu Xing is not her father's student, he is just a member here. But Taizhan doesn't care about it and stomps his foot on the ground to get ready to attack, as all he knows is that on the account of Lu Xing's reputation, they have stolen more than half of their martial arts academy's business. And since they have dared to reach into their pockets, he shouldn't blame him for being ruthless. But Shuang argues that it was his own students who joined them according to their will, so he cannot blame them for it. But Taizhan states that it's exactly why he came to destroy their academy today, because once it's destroyed they won't have any place to go and would return to him. Hearing which, Shung starts to get angry as well, and gets ready to fight in her father's place, not without being anxious of it. And Taizhan also gets ready to crush her. Hongchuan tells Shuang that she is not a match for him, as he has a solid rank 4 martial artist skills, and even if he were to fight against him without his injury it would still be a 50-50 chance at best. But she believes that if she and her father both were to join forces, then they might not lose against him, since she is a rank 3 martial artist herself. And with full confidence, Taizhan mocks them for taking too much time to attack him, telling them to quickly face their demise by attacking him. And Shuang tells him that once she defeats him, she would make him carry their signboard and parade the streets with it. Taizhan gets annoyed by her taunts and goes on to rush at her to attack. And before she can react, Taizhan has already closed the distance between them. Worried about her daughter, Hongchuan comes forward and blocks the attack in her stead and gets sent flying, crashing into the wall behind. Taizhan calls Hongchuan trash for not being able to take a single punch. While Hongchuan realizes that Taizhan has reached rank 5, so Taizhan replies if he is surprised about that, as he calls out Hongchuan for hiding behind this academy while he was getting stronger, and laughs while saying that it must have been a long time for him since he fought a pro like himself. Due to all this, Hongchuan says that if he wants, he would go down to the Martial Association right now to close down their academy. Hearing which, Shuang starts crying, and Taizhan grins, and starts to leave while saying that he will trust him to keep his promise. But just then, Lu Xing arrives, telling them to hold on, stating that it's a perfectly good academy. If it shuts down, where is he going to train? And seeing him, Shuang seems to be a bit relieved, as Lu Xing greets her, saying that it's been a while, as everyone realizes that he is the reason all of their students went away. Taizhan faces him and tells everyone else to shut up. And upon observing him closely, he quite likes Lu Xing and his talent, and offers him to join the Taizhan Academy, since he is worried that Hongchuan Academy being shut down would not leave him any place to train. He calls their academy trash in front of him, since they cannot even handle his one punch, and he also offers to teach him his secret Taizhan technique. Lu Xing asks about it and Taizhan shows him his body, stating that it's something that would make him invincible, and believing that there is hardly anyone who can break through it. Even Hongchuan was unable to. Who was unable to reply back to his statement. Lu Xing acts interested, and asks if he is really willing to teach him such an amazing technique, and the guy replies, as long as he is willing to join them, then he would teach him everything as his master. Lu Xing then asks how is he planning to teach him that, making Taizhan think, why does he have so many questions? And before he can say anything further, he suddenly feels being attacked and caught by a bunch of monster upon facing him. And he gets quite nervous and puts his guard up, but still get pushed back. As we see, Lu Xing has simply put his arm up for a thumbs up, sarcastically calling him impressive and quite tough. And just like that, Lu Xing lands a punch onto his guard, though while still being casual with it. But that punch still sends him flying and knocks him out cold as he crashes into the wall behind. He then mocks Taizhan, asking how is he going to teach him when he is kneeling like that.